we're back. Ronan, you're looking very underdressed today.
Limited edition Synthesia jersey.
You're actually, I'm underdressed.
I feel, well, because of how grand this thing is.
Part of the Synthesia club,
See if
baby.
we can get
Let's go.
I'm just going to pick that up, or is it going to stay on my face?
Yeah, nice. Looking good.
Those guys.
Shout out to
Gifted
Synthesia.
and gifted.
They are legends.
From the Synthesia team. This is a bit of it's one from the archive, this one actually. This was early days of ETN. For those who are listening, not looking, I implore you to go to some sort of video channel that you can see this, because it is a thing of beauty.
Ronan is, he's mocking me.
It was a gift. It was funny when we were in the room with Stefan. We were doing a trade at the time. We were doing a ETN Synthesia trade in the early days of ETN. Very early, actually. I think first month.
First month of ETN. We were brokering a big trade deal with a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yep.
That multi-billion-dollar company wasn't us, unfortunately. It was Synthesia. Mm-hmm. We were the small fish on the other side of the deal.
Making a big splash.
We were making a big splash with our lovely hats, which Max showed at the Corgi Cafe, which you will see when we put some content out about that.
That is coming. It is on the way.
But yeah, we had a nice brokering of deal. Do you want to explain the story? What happened? How do we end up with the jersey and maybe not something else that we may have wanted?
That's the thing. That's the thing. That was a real interesting other item.
We can say it. Just say it.
It was a signed bottle of Johnny Walker from Jensen Huang, signed by the man himself. The man who owns all the money, the man who owns all the compute.
Indeed, he does. Doing deals with all of Wall Street, as we will be reporting today. But should we go through the Airwallex agenda, figure out what's going on first, and then we can go from there.
What a show! What a cracking show for you guys. Earnings day here at ETN. We've got Mike Cannon-Brookes, CEO and co-founder at Atlassian. He's coming hot to the show at 12:30 to break down their ripping earnings report.
What did you check it was up today? It was up 46%, you say?
46% in the last 5 days. Just checking again. Last 5 days. Yeah, 46% it ripped in the last 5 days. I mean, it's to all the naysayers out there who say software is dead. Check again, because their stock price just went up.
The SaaS apocalypse.
We've got Lukas M. Ziegler. I wonder what the M stands for. We're going to have to ask him that. I don't know what that stands for. Let's just chuck in a Michael there. Sounds good. Lukas Ziegler, Chief Evangelist at Botnanza. He's coming back to the show, second time on the show, to break down a bunch of stuff within the humanoid market, robotics in general. What is the state of Europe? What is the state globally? We're going to be looking into Unitree's IPO as well. Incredibly oversubscribed. Yeah. Chinese
5,500 times oversubscribed.
That's quite a lot.
It's insane. We have a cool video of the Unitree robots doing their thing on a stage somewhere in China. With some cool katanas and a bunch of other cool things. Yep. It'll be good.
Nirav, Tolia, co-founder and CEO at Nextdoor. Again, they've reported their strongest earnings in 12 years, in their 12-year history, I believe. Going to be a fascinating conversation with them. Why is it ripping? What's going on? How are they adjusting to this new market that we find ourselves in? And yeah, how are they continue to drive shareholder value? We've got Daria Saharova, founding partner at World Fund, coming in. We've been trying to make this one work. We couldn't get it in last week, but we're lucky enough to have her in today. A plethora of things, but mainly quantum focused with her. And then we've got Daniel Keinrath. He's coming in again for the second time with some breaking news that he'll be sharing live on the show.
Guy's flying in. He's flying into the studio.
Going to be breaking down what's going on over at Fonio. They are a 20 VC portco. We had him on a few months back when they initially raised, and he's got some interesting ARR numbers to share with us today.
Indeed, he does.
That is the Airwallex agenda, folks.
Let's talk about Airwallex. Leave edited business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-on financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Get at airwallex.com. And we're right back.
Right back, just like that.
Let's jump into the news.
Let's do it. Let's get straight into it. Wait, actually, before we do jump into the news, maybe just a quick update on the Corgi Cafe report.
Yeah.
For those who aren't aware, we mentioned it the other day, but we are releasing an investigative piece into the Corgi Cafe.
Max is deep in the books. He is writing it up as we speak.
Chief intern was deployed to the field.
He was.
Chief intern was, having conversations, finding out what really goes on at the Corgi Cafe here in London. That's going to hit the timeline sometime this week. You will be shocked at what we find over there at the Corgi Cafe. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you've got your notifications set on X. You will see our investigative piece on the Corgi Cafe. On to equally important matters as the Corgi Cafe. Anthropic. They're trying to boost investor confidence ahead of their IPO. And this was an interesting write-up. It took over the timeline for many reasons. One in particular was a section around what are their plans, how are they trying to do this. There's a lot of conversation around them sort of not changing path, but they're now going to go down a similar route to what we've seen to trend recently in this biological intersection of AI in terms of curing disease, using these powerful models to access a realm in which human brains aren't capable of accessing, and then hopefully discovering new scientific breakthroughs. The main one, obviously, on everyone's mind is curing cancer. It seems to be the headline when anyone else goes down this path. That is kind of the North Star for most of these. But yes, the Wall Street Journal reports that Anthropic is meeting with potential investors to shore up confidence in what could be the largest IPO of all time, offering assurances about its rapid pace of growth and strategies it expects will help address a growing public backlash against AI. And this is a conversation that I've been having with a bunch of people recently, is like how unpopular AI is generally to the public. And
we keep asking guests who are kind of in that realm, what is the general consensus? Alex yesterday at Beam had some really good takes. And they're doing, an incredible job at increasing the net positivity of AI and how it can integrate into kind of the SME market. The conversation with Fonio, actually, Daniel at Fonio, will be interesting as well, because they are basically going deep into the SME market and helping a bunch of incredible businesses that are kind of sitting within that kind of general population of businesses. Maybe they're not kind of, these VC-backed, AI, whatever, businesses, SaaS businesses, whatever they are. But they're more of the, high street businesses or, kind of like e-commerce businesses, whatever it is. And they're going deep and very deep into it, and apparently ripping. So it'll be good to talk to him about it as well.
We love it when our guests are ripping, like many of them on the show today. But yeah, Dom Hallis over there at Startup Coalition, we had him on the show a few weeks back. He was mentioning some interesting tidbits around how unpopular AI is generally, and we know this from general comms. Google CEO getting booed off stage in Arizona State. Sam Altman's interview he did with Axios a while ago during the CVPN acquisition, he mentioned that if AI was a political candidate, it would be the most unpopular candidate. But the weird thing, though, in contrast to, it's a lot more, from the conversations that we've been having, and there are statistics around this, because it's becoming more of a geopolitical asset, it's starting to become a political asset as well for people running for power. How can they take advantage of certain narratives and bend them towards a resulting effect of them going into power, whatever narrative that is, if it's pro or post, but taking advantage of what do the masses think and bending that to one's will. But overall, it's vastly more unpopular. And when we say AI, we mean the full stack, right? We mean everything all the way from data centers to genuine inference, software tools using AI, and everything that culturally comes within that. But it's ultimately a lot more unpopular in the US. And I was having a conversation with someone, I won't name them on the show because I'm not sure if that's cool, but we met them yesterday.
We did.
We had a great conversation with them yesterday. They gave us a lovely tour of some areas in the UK that will remain unnamed. But he mentioned that we had a conversation why do we think that it is so unpopular there, and it's not as it's still unpopular here, but it's not as unpopular here than it is in the US.
Yeah.
And some of the interesting points that were thrown around was essentially the mass adoption of AI. When we say AI, we really do mean the core areas of San Francisco. It's where all the Frontier Labs are. It's where most of the news comes from. It's where most of the press is aligned to.
Yeah.
Because that's where the main conversations are. is there some sort of lag effect of that sort of immersement within AI that Americans have compared to us, because they've just had so many more years sat within it?
Yeah. So in Zuck's letter yesterday, he basically said, and to kind of directly go and make this problem better, essentially. He was saying sustainable infrastructure development means that communities must benefit significantly from each project. Zuckerberg writes, he cites the experience of Richland Parish, LA, where school teachers received $50,000 bonus checks founded by increased economic activity near the company's Hyperion data center campus. They're going to launch a $1 billion fund, which is like a Future is for Everyone fund, to directly support communities around the facilities, giving itself a new talking point to deploy against the rising tide of anti-data center activism. So it's like a direct, increasing of prosperity around this technology, not kind of, putting it in and ripping out a bunch of standard practices within towns and everything else that comes in between that. Obviously, that the water stat that everyone got wrong, I think, and kind of floated around how much water a data center actually uses was wrong, and that was kind of a very weird time for this build out. So it's they are directly trying to mitigate this kind of problem, but. Still kind of muddy waters, especially in the US.
Yeah.
Especially with the data center build out. I mean, they are obviously building out a lot more than the UK is at the moment. They have to. Let's go back to the story.
It goes on to say, in recent weeks, investors have pressed Anthropic executives on such topics in pre-IPO meetings, asking them what effect they might have on the company's growth. People familiar with the matter within that discussion said, the conversations reflect the tremendous uncertainty that still exists about who will win the AI race and the financial stability of the business that underpin it. The price Anthropic sets and the company's performance after the initial public offering will set the stage for how investors value top AI developers. Trillions of dollars in AI spending, most of which is going towards securing computing resources, largely rests on the assumption that demand for the technology will continue to rise precipitously. And we're starting to see, they're printing. These guys are absolutely printing. But going back to the culture aspects of it and the narrative aspects of it, it'll be super interesting to see how they deploy strategies. And we're already seeing hints of it initially now, but how they deploy strategies to win the non-tech natives. And a small strategy of an example I'll give is OpenAI hosting influencer dinners.
Yeah.
These influencers have hundreds of thousands of followers on places where these sort of the intended ICP2 reach, which is non-technical individuals who can sort of spread their message, kind of like evangelists. They live on Instagram, right? That's probably the most popular consumer-focused social media app right now for the younger generation.
But what about LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, that minefield. I love catching up with the fellas on LinkedIn, LinkedIn posts.
That's a social media if I've ever seen one.
Who's out this weekend? On LinkedIn status. That would get on well.
5 things I learned about B2B SaaS by going out on the weekend.
Just a quick one on LinkedIn. I actually can't, when I find myself scrolling LinkedIn, I have to check myself mentally. Because I accept anyone who sends me a connection request, I just accept them. I don't even look at them. So based off that, and if I did that with X, if I was just following every single person that I see, my feed would just be I guess not on the For You page, but traditionally my feed would just be slop.
Yeah.
So when I do find myself scrolling LinkedIn, I kind of have to check myself. So I'm hey, whoa, this is full of slop.
Yeah.
Stop doing this. This is you don't want to consume this information. Anyway, sorry, I don't know how we got there. Company executives have played down the impact on Chinese competition in meetings, telling investors that Anthropic is hyper-focused on offering cutting-edge AI models. Chief Executive Daria and other top US AI leaders have publicly said that most users want the most intelligent AI systems available at any given time, suggesting that the Chinese systems are less of a threat since their capabilities generally trail those of top AI models by at least a few months.
When I read this morning, I thought, I was like, is that real? Is that true? I don't know if that's true. Yeah. I don't know. I was looking at and then I went onto the poly market of like how, like when Anthropic's IPO is going to be. It's still 85% in December 31st of December. So by the end of the year, 85%. October 31st is 76%, and that's gone up. That's up 33%. And will Anthropic IPO before OpenAI? It's 85% Anthropic. OpenAI have pushed back till as far as like 2027. So there's still growing sentiment that they will IPO this year. But it's, all of these things happening in China, and a bunch of other kind of like, this kind of open weight, closed weight discussion has kind of made it feel a little bit like, is everything moving towards an IPO? Probably it's actually, everything that's going on is actually pulling away from that actually happening.
Well, you can imagine those conversations from the investors saying like, hey, how are you guys positioned against open source eating some of this enterprise revenue?
Yeah, exactly.
And his comment is, don't worry about it. Like, no one likes those crummy tools anyway. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like
True.
CEO of man selling tools says all the other tools aren't that good.
Yeah.
Like,
so it was interesting in this article. They also said Anthropic told some investors that it plans to push further into healthcare and biology AI uses, and that the work could help mitigate some of the negative sentiment around AI. People involved in the conversation said Anthropic hasn't shared its precise pricing plans or timing, the people said. Anthropic's IPO would come during a banner year for such mega deals, including obviously SpaceX, which surpassed $2 trillion in trading after its IPO earlier this year. I want to go just towards the end of the article. It says Anthropic pulled ahead after of the pack earlier this year when its Claude Code coding model took off. Anthropic said in May that its run rate revenue had topped $47 billion earlier that month. In recent weeks, Anthropic has forged a flurry of new computing deals with the likes of SpaceX and Google. Usage data shows demand for Claude Code and other Anthropic tools has continued to be robust, and the company has faced intermittent outages this year. So fundamentals of the company essentially good. Everything else that's going on around the company that they can't necessarily control, all of this stuff happening in China and release of those models, more capital flowing in, they'll be seeing those reports on trad media, people in the West, investors in Anthropic, and thinking, "Ooh, okay, this." They're already getting close to frontier. Whether they're months behind or not, I don't think so. As what Wall Street Journal reported. But they're already pretty frontier without the spend that the US has been putting into frontier models. What happens when now they are putting that kind of spend into it? Yeah. So it's still strong sentiment that they will IPO, but it's still definitely kind of up in the air, and Daria is kind of trying to push it away and say, hey, we're still targeting for kind of September, October time, and the sentiment is still kind of not great in general population.
They'll 100% IPO. There's not a world in which they don't IPO. I don't think it's just it will be bigger than SpaceX's IPO 100%. I think what's really interesting about this, though, the section here, it says, in meetings, Anthropic told some investors that it plans to push further into healthcare and biology AI uses that the work could help mitigate some of the negative sentiment around AI. People involved with this conversation said, this is interesting for two reasons. One is because he realizes that is a narrative that he needs to take hold of in order to win the hearts of the masses. You can't hate the guy who cures cancer. You just can't. That's just not allowed. Regardless of what he does, you aren't allowed to hate the guy that cures cancer. And you also have to give him loads of money.
True.
The second thing is...
Or probably a Nobel Prize or something.
Or a Nobel Prize. He becomes king of the world, I think. If you I don't know if there's an award that exists for that, but
he gets knighted, all of it.
World, king of the world. But the second thing is really interesting. He is telling... I can't work out whether... I think when we weight these 2 points, it's heavily weighted on that. He needs to win, the hearts of consumers generally, and that's more of a long-term strategy. He can IPO without the hearts of consumers. He's won the hearts of people who have a financial interest in in making him IPO because he's printing 47 billion a month, right? Like he's won the hearts of the people who have the money and want to make more money and control capital. But also it's interesting in a way where he's telling investors that. I think that's a sign as to where are the investors looking right now for the next big payout. Like where is, he knows that they will receive that happily. They'll be like, okay, hey, we're a bit worried about open source domination. We're a little bit worried about like competing Chinese frontier open source labs are now raising rounds that we can't really ignore. If that trend line continues, the models will get incredibly more capable.
What happens to sentiment at an opening an IPO? Don't know.
But it's just threatening a little bit. But he's like, guys, it's all good. And hey, also, we're going to go into healthcare. Into biology, right? You hear that? Like,
we're going to buy it.
That's the sound of money.
We're going to buy it
right now. That's the money noise ticking over there. So I think that's like actually probably the most interesting part of the article throughout this whole thing. And that did some numbers on the timeline as well. But I think it's a sign of, two things. How do you win the masses? You can't hate the guy that cures cancer. Second thing, where is the next big payday that investors are looking for? And it is in biological AI and cracking the intersection of healthcare and AI.
So saying that, over last night, on trending on X, there was how Claude marks AI generated content. So like the sentiment in the kind of developer ecosystem kind of took a hit a little bit over last night, basically being like, everything that Claude spits out, regardless whether it's a text model, it's image, whatever it is, it's marked with AI-generated content, which kind of took the timeline by storm, and everyone was like, "Whoa, I don't want any of my content being kind of like owned by Daria specifically."
The reason for this is EU AI Act.
It is, it is, which is pretty awful.
Let's go.
But they say Claude models launched in the EU on or after August 2nd will support machine-readable marking at launch. Generated text will carry embedded watermarks, and general files will include digitally signed provenance metadata where supported. And that's just not text; that's also code as well. And people on the timeline were saying this is also global. This isn't just in Europe. And so took a huge hit on the kind of like developer ecosystem, specifically on X. There was a bunch of kind of discourse, on the timeline around, hey, this isn't right. Why are you guys kind of plastering some form of watermark on everything that we create? We don't want it to be owned by Anthropic. So it's kind of not really playing into this narrative that, that he's trying to create for the IPO. It's not, it doesn't really help, but I'm sure they'll get through.
How do you watermark code?
I think there's just like some things.
By
I have no idea
on the product. I mean, everyone's product then would be owned by.
No, I have no idea.
Anthropic.
We can find out. We can figure it out.
That'd be mad if they can do that. So this is. Following the EU's AI Act, specifically Article 50. When we first covered it, it was for AI-generated content. So, we were predominantly thinking short-form media. I think it's a good thing. I think that should be tagged as watermarks. We went into deep on that with those Tai Chi ads that I'm getting hammered on Instagram, because my whole feed is just barbecued meat and like men in the gym.
Nice.
So, like, initially, I think they think that I'm like an overweight 40-year-old man, which is super fair based on my trend on Instagram. But so, out of everyone who signed this, it's everyone that you can think of, all the big labs, apart from XAI. They were like, nah, we're just not going to do that.
No need.
I wonder, they probably got hit with a fine. I don't know what the fine would be, but I think they'd just rather eat the fine. Or eat the recurring fines that come from it. We all know that the EU's revenue from fines against Mag 7 and Frontier Labs is higher than like just general revenue generated or something. There's a hilarious stat. I'm paraphrasing slightly, so we'll have to actually find it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But it's a money machine. The Find machine is a money machine.
Indeed it is.
Prints.
Indeed it is. Let's go back onto the Anthropic stuff and this watermark story. Andrew Curran came out with a tweet and said, on OpenAI's support page, updated 9 days ago regarding text watermarking, Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Mistral all signed the EU code of practice on transparency of AI-generated content. So all must invisibly watermark text. XAI did not sign, as you said. And kind of paints the picture here. Do you have plans to support text outputs consistent with our commitment under the European Commission's Code of Practice in transparency of AI-generated content? Our goal is to expand provenance signals to all modalities, including text, so customers and developers have clear ways to meet their own transparency obligations as standards and tooling continue to mature. So it's kind of everyone, but it kind of blew up yesterday about Anthropic's watermarks. And it kind of just was another hit to, it's kind of what they're experiencing. Now they are kind of gearing up for this this IPO.
It's funny, this news came out ages ago.
It did, yeah.
But it only picked up, a bit of momentum after Anthropic have come out and said, mainly because I assume, if you look at how many people are trawling Anthropic's release page or blog page compared to how many people are trawling the European Commission's AI blog, it's probably pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably an order of magnitude. So that news gets picked up quick and therefore distributed quick and therefore in dialogue quick.
Yeah.
By data aggregators on.
Yeah, I'm surprised it kind of blew up. It blew up last night. It was really weird. If we pull this tweet up, this is I just saw this as a comment from Nick's post, but this is Norberto Marquez. He says, I hope they get some pushback on this. If I'm paying for your plan, I don't want invisible watermarks embedded in my content. If this is really the direction they choose, we should seriously consider open source alternatives that don't impose this kind of control.
And that's a fair comment. That's a fair comment.
A little bit
slightly off center.
Sorry, guys.
It's a fair comment because you use a freemium product.
Yeah.
You pay for premium on that product, and it would historically remove a watermark.
Yeah.
So that's a fair comment. Generally, I do think in this case, though, when it's been used en masse, we enter a new realm in which that a lot of people are getting fooled by AI-generated content. So I'm still holding ground on I hear that, but maybe for Gemini have the watermark.
Yes.
You can edit it out if you want to, but I just think generally that's a good thing to have in for AI-generated content.
I think images for sure. I think it's text.
And video as well.
Images and video,
Video is getting pretty good.
Yeah. Video, images, absolutely fine. It's more the text and the code is specifically what the developer ecosystem was like, whoa, this isn't good.
How do they mark that though? Surely how would any... the impact of that would be potentially client-facing, people buying your software. What's the it's got a vibe-coded stamp on it or something?
Yeah, it's I think that there was a tweet about it explaining what it actually means, but I don't exactly know how they embed. I mean, they just do. Let's just assume they just do.
Yeah, that's the headline. They're just doing it, bud. But yeah, I hear Norberto's take. I think traditionally I agree with it, but I do think that we probably can't evaluate, frontier AI models in the same way that we'd evaluate a Chrome plugin or some sort of $9.99 app a month where you pay extra to get the watermarks removed for content generated. I think that it's too. We can't set those rules around. Both those businesses. On premise, I agree, but I just don't think we can. Well, it's not apples to apples.
DHH said, I don't think many humans are going to be reading or writing code in 5 years. So I don't think it really matters. He was like, I don't really care. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be AI generated. Who cares? It's going to have a watermark or not. No one's even going to see the watermark because there's, humans aren't even reading or writing any of the code or the text.
This guy is an absolute beast. He's the founder of Ruby on Rails.
He's a legend.
And his
game.
car one, yes. The take is it makes complete sense why we've been stressing about this. Like the Axios report covered in the day, we're in this time of like unprecedented pace where there isn't enough time for people, entities, companies, governments to react, understand, and implement a sound response to anything associated with AI developments, because the curve is just getting too steep that we literally cannot keep up with it. He also has one of the most impressive car collections I've ever seen in my whole life. It is insane. It's almost like if you went to a showroom and you were looking at all these like supercars that like many people have brought in together, but imagine it's just his garage.
Let's go.
That's the level I'm talking about of how insane this guy's room is. I'm getting word over here that we have our first guest to bring onto the show.
Let's do it.
I think we can bring Mike in and we can get a sense of all the great things that are happening at Atlassian. Mike, how are you? Welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
I'm good, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. I was enjoying you talking about DHH's car collection.
Have you seen it?
I've only seen it virtually, actually. So okay, but it does look impressive. And as someone who drives a Kia, I'm probably not the person that you want commenting on that subject. They look very nice.
It's fine. Ronan doesn't even drive. So.
I can't even drive, so I'm another rung down. So all good.
Right.
Yeah. Mike.
And I'm a cyclist, which is even worse.
It's much better. That's amazing.
We've got far more important things to discuss, of course, with you here today. Congratulations on an amazing beat. Maybe could you just paint the picture for the viewers and the listeners? Like, what have we seen from Atlassian on this report? We've seen that the stock is performing incredibly well over the past 5 days. We've got a bunch of different questions to get into, as you can imagine, maybe based off the SaaS apocalypse narratives and then a bunch of other things. But would love for you to kick us off.
Sure. Look, what can I say at the highest level? We had an outstanding quarter to cap off a fairly outstanding year. It's the end of our fiscal year. Revenue was up 28% to 1.8 billion. Our cloud business continues accelerating, so it passed 31% year on year. All-time high quarter for $1 million, $3 million, and $5 million deals. And we signed our largest deal of all time by quite a significant margin, showing, I think, customers fundamentally signing up to larger, longer deals, adopting more of the Atlassian platform, and a massive amount of hard work from everyone on the team throughout the quarter. So nice. We're pretty happy about that, and we're back into it for Q1.
Let's go. Love to hear it, man. First question straight off the back is, can I ask you what changed in maybe like public perception or public markets? Like we've seen a bunch of other companies report some pretty strong numbers, beating estimates in many cases, but the stock wouldn't sort of show that narrative. It wouldn't show that trend. We've obviously moved away from the SaaS apocalypse days. Is there something that changed internally? Is there something that you changed in the perception of how people view software businesses today? We've discussed it many times on the show. Perhaps it was an overreaction to the capabilities of frontier models when, anytime Anthropic would tweet, it would be like, just killed insert industry here.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you make of the apocalypse, SaaS apocalypse people, and what that narrative looks like today?
Look, it's a good question. It's a really hard one for me to answer, I suppose. From our perspective, it's a little bit more of the same, right? We tell people what we're going to go do, and then we try to go do that. And I think we've had 4 or 5, 6 really strong quarters in a row. This one got a different reaction to the others, despite numerically not being significantly different, I would say. Yeah. I think perhaps continual delivery. There's a point to which people are like, okay, these type of companies, and this company specifically, Atlassian, is going to keep delivering results that are somewhat of a narrative violation, and at some point that becomes impossible to ignore. I hope there's a little bit of that. Our AI results are really, really strong, right? Our teamwork graph, the context we're delivering, lots of stats about Rovo, our AI offering. Customers using it grow their ARR at twice the rate. We're up 50% quarter on quarter in Rovo assisted actions, so sort of a proxy for all of the actions taken by or in Rovo across the platform. So our AI story is resonating really well with the customers, and it was a strong set of results across the board. So
great.
Hopefully we're proving to people what it is that we can do in this AI era.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to ask about Rovo and kind of like the the bet on like context specifically. I think a lot of companies are focusing on like the intelligence side, the kind of compute side, but it's you guys have really kind of heavily embedded into the context. Can you tell us like how deep does that go? How much further can you guys move into the context layer with your existing customers, but then new customers, onboarding them? How much more context can you use to improve businesses?
Look, there's a long way we can go further. There's lots of improvements we come up with every quarter.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, the teamwork graph, what it does is connects all of the organizational memory, if you want to think about it that way, right? The knowledge of an organization, it's documents and spreadsheets, the work of an organization, so it's projects or initiatives that happen, goals, outcomes, communications, your emails and messages and meetings, to code, to people, to a lot of things around your organization, and from not just Atlassian's products, but all the products you have, right? And we've spent 8 years now building the teamwork graph. The last 3 years, it's been a much bigger team building at a much bigger rate. And fundamentally, we take all that information and we pre-calculate and put it together, run a bunch of inference and other things on top of it to give you or your agents, your AI tools, far better answers at a faster rate and at a much lower cost. So reducing the tokens used to get to an equivalent answer. That resonates with customers really well. Tokenomics is a huge problem for a lot of customers. We are only just in early access program for our code context, for example, so full semantic understanding of all of your source code alongside and cross-reference to all those other sources. That's resonating really well with customers. That'll be in GA very shortly. Nice. There is a lot more we can do in terms of the quality, right? So the more people use the Atlassian Teamwork Graph, the more we understand the queries that are run, the smarter answers we can give. So we can kind of learn from each of those loops. So we think we can keep keeping fairly differentiated there for a fairly long time.
Yeah, that's cool. Like an internal reinforcement loop. That's amazing. You mentioned something there that I'd love to double down on. Token maxing is a problem for some of the customers. That was a bit of I don't know. It was a huge narrative for quite a while. Token maxing became a thing, right? Internally, there was discussion of internal leaderboards for this type of stuff. Arguments around did that. It was kind of like, oh, this is really fun. Let's have fun with this, but does that equal productivity, right? And I saw a new word the other day. I think it was in the FT or the Wall Street Journal. I can't remember which one, but it was token thrifting, where people are now, they're jumping between models naturally to find the most cost-efficient way to get the task done. I would love to know. Potentially you're speaking with other CEOs, other co-founders, maybe sharing ideas on, how to sort of make one's way through this AI wave. What seems to be the common themes that you're hearing in these relationships with enterprise customers? Are they trying to move away from frontier into open source? If there are any trends in these conversations?
Look, I think it's different for different businesses at the moment. You certainly had a phenomenon of what became known as token maxing, which, if you think about it, was a training exercise. People were trying to encourage their staff to use AI tools, to use the tokens, to learn, to play, to get familiar with them. That part made sense. At some point when that became a leaderboard and it's literally who spends the most of the CFO's money, that part didn't make sense, right? And CFOs at some point like, wait, we're encouraging people to spend more money? This doesn't seem like the way we should be going. So you've certainly had a rationality creep in, as with any new technologies. Presumably that means enough of a company's staff are using AI, agentic harnesses, tools, whatever it is at some level. And they're now thinking about how do we manage that cost? So there are lots of ways to do that. We provide a whole series of tools. I mean, the Teamwork Graph is one that our customers are delighted by, right? It can get up to sort of 40 to 45% token saving for most customers almost immediately. So it's quite a large saving, especially where you have a lot of people running a lot of different tokens across a large knowledge space. The The blending of models is something that we do internally in our gateway, and we know a lot of customers ask about, right? I certainly speak to a lot of customers about how to do that. It requires quite a bit of technical aptitude, but certainly something that large customers are starting to do. You have people applying budgets per employee. We have that internally. Different functions get different budgets. They reset, or you can apply for a higher budget. Turns out this is usually a really fantastic way, by the way, to find your AI talent. So I tell CEOs that I'm talking to, so, when you meet our first budget limit, you ask internally in our service desk for a higher limit. Yeah. It's almost always granted internally to Atlassian, but it helps to understand who is therefore hitting the limit, so you can identify that talent, ask them what they're doing. Oh, someone in sales or finance is now using these tools. Like, what are they doing with these tools? It's a really interesting way to identify cutting edge talent as well. And obviously managing your costs. And you see a lot of people like just getting smarter about what it is they're spending time and energy on. A lot of these harnesses will burn a lot of tokens. They may not cache any data. They throw it out every run. You have people maxing out their tokens. There are various scripts available to dump all of your tokens sort of between 11:30 p.m. and midnight. So you certainly see customers watching for that, because someone who hits their token limit to the dollar every day doesn't sort of realistically make sense. So it's just looking for sensible behavior, I would say, and trying to promote and foster good behavior inside a corporate environment.
Yeah,
That's
interesting.
so interesting.
Wow. I wanted to ask about the talent side, because you've said, I think before, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are going to have more engineers than fewer, and you're very much not. I think the idea that AI makes you more efficient tends to mean, less people will need to do a job, and therefore what happens to those people who are less efficient? What's your kind of take on the way that you're seeing how you're structuring the company going forward in terms of jobs and how AI is making people more efficient? Does that mean you just see it as, we can just do more and I should hire more people to do more and more and more? Or is that an efficiency thing? And where are people wrong within that kind of conversation?
I think, look, people are making their hot takes. There's a very obvious take to say that if something like software creation of technology becomes cheaper, we're going to have less people doing it.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit naive. That'll certainly happen in some places, right?
Yeah.
So you can't take a single rule for all companies or all industries, all areas. In our industry, if something costs you half as much to create, you can choose where to put that saving, right? You can create twice as much technology. Mm-hmm. You can create technology you would not have created before because previously it was too expensive to create, right? The ROI wasn't there. Now it may have come into an ROI window as well. So that is also something that it's not just our existing creation got cheaper. Things that weren't being created now can be created, which is often left out, right? The sort of Jepson's paradox equivalent for technology creation or any of these sort of roles. You also have the ability to make better quality things. So most technology, you run out of time and budget before you run out of quality. So if you have the same amount of time, you might sort of make something twice. If you've ever written an essay for a university and you lost it, you guys look like you might be too young to remember having to hit the save button, but you used to occasionally lose it, right? And you'd be like, oh my God, I've lost all my work. And you'd have to write it again. You always write it better the second time, right? Yeah. You always do a better job doing the exact same task for the second time. It's not that different for software. You sort of complete 80% of the functional requirements and the team has to move on. You might be able to get to 90% or do the 80%, but at a higher quality bar, less bugs, better user experience, whatever it is. So there's lots of places that can be spent if you want to think about it that way. The second thing is the bar for software going up as a generalized sense? And I say that because the savings can be used in margin, or they can potentially use to be more competitive with someone else. Mm-hmm. So in an industry like finance, for example, where there's sort of like a somewhat of a zero-sum game in some geographies, you might choose to go on the attack if your competitor has a high margin and spend that extra on products and services. So I think what we see is there's lots of ways of doing it. I fundamentally believe that with the cost of technology creation going down, there will be far more people creating technology, and that'll lead to far more software developers. That technology gets more complex, it gets more advanced. But I think over the last 30, 40, 50 years almost, we've continued to make the creation of technology cheaper and faster at almost every point in the last 50 years. And we have more software developers today than we ever had.
Yeah.
So I don't exactly understand why that would reverse. That's my hot take. And we'll have to wait for the future to see if I'm right.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what the timeline says when the clips go out. Mike, a question around high level AI transformation. I don't really want to call it transformation because you guys have been like pretty AI focused before it was hot anyway. But there's probably, there's so many publicly listed CEOs today that are sort of scrambling to work out what is their internal AI strategy. It can be incredibly difficult for larger companies in general. Obviously, just naturally, there are more people there. One that we've always really liked on the show was the guys at Intercom, who sort of closed down, almost like risked the whole business to completely pivot the whole business into what is now FinAI that was recently acquired by Salesforce. And it takes a lot of risk to do that. And that AI transformation was very brash and sort of throw the old playbook out and just put the whole new one in. So it's happening on a macro scale all the way down to a micro scale as well. Is there a playbook for these sort of publicly listed CEOs that maybe you could offer advice to in terms of how do you build a good like AI native publicly listed company today? Like, is there mistakes that people are making that stand out that maybe you guys have made in the past or key learnings that have proved to do the company well?
Look, if there's a playbook, mate, I haven't read it, so let's start there.
I think
we're all writing it. We're writing it alongside Claude by the day. Look, I think, and I say that in jest, I think one of the things is trying to figure out what doesn't change. I think that's an old Jeff Bezos quote. Our customers' problems aren't changing.
Sure.
Our ability to solve those problems is changing. And so being customer-led at the speed that the industry requires today, and we can talk about that, but our customers have problems of collaboration, of teamwork, managing projects, delivering outcomes in large, complex, multifunctional areas. In the service collection, it's service teams and how they perform employee service management or IT service management or HR service management. Strategy planning, like none of these problems go away in the age of AI, right? You have to do them differently. And what is the optimistic way to look at it is we have new technologies to be able to solve those problems. Take service management. It's a lot of text, a lot of tickets, questions coming in, try to deflect it to knowledge-based articles, all the traditional way of doing it. Mm-hmm. Well, we can now understand that text at a far deeper level, right? We can help agents, human agents, to solve those problems better. So I think focusing on the customers and the problems really helps, because otherwise you get focused on the technological disruption, which fundamentally customers couldn't give a shit about. Mm-hmm. They don't care about technological disruption. They care about solving a problem for a given price. So we tend to start by focusing on that. Second is, in the age of uncertainty, as I like to call it, you got to work out what it is that you're going to stick to. So you hear people saying, oh, I'm tearing up my roadmap every month. And I'm like, I think you're doing a shit job if you're doing that. The technology is changing very rapidly, but if your roadmap is built on today's technology at each given point in the curve, you haven't thought about it really hard enough. So we've tended to find, like the Teamwork Graph's a good example, our AI Gateway, our chat quality, for example. There are a whole series of fundamental platform pieces that 2+ years ago, model blending, we decided, man, there's probably going to be a lot of foundational models. We don't know which one's going to win, so we better get really good at taking those foundational models and applying them to our customers' problems as fast as we can, right? We're in the business of applying AI to customer problems. And none of those things have changed in the last 3 years. They've all been fairly safe bets. Now, we didn't make all those long-term bets correctly, but we try to invest in things that aren't going to change and then deal with the changes as they happen, right? Rather than being sort of buffeted around, no pun intended to Warren, on a continual basis, right? So I think you can do in a public market, especially if you listen to other people, right? And I talk internally a lot about clarity and conviction, right? We have to know the direction we're traveling in. We have to be convicted on that direction and clear on that direction. And then we have to just head in that direction and try to ignore what's out there because it's incredibly noisy at the moment. And the problem with that noise is you start to question your own choices, right? And then you change the roadmap once a month. it's probably not going to lead to great products for your customers. I would guess. So it's a balance of that.
Yeah. It's always balance. It's interesting.
You mentioned something. Sorry, just to go back to it very quickly. Around like the speed at which customers' needs are accelerating as well. You've kind of hinted at it a little bit there, but what in this regard, like are customers wanting more all the time today, just because maybe they can see they can get more, or they're seeing advancements, or is that like a line to the pace which businesses can move at as well? Is it just move in pace with the needs and the demands of the people you serve?
Look, it's probably different in different areas. I can only speak to our experience. Mm-hmm. We're probably creating technology faster than our customers can absorb it at the moment. Interesting. And that's something we haven't faced for 24 years, which is a great position to be in. The absorption speed of technology is going to be different in every field, right? But for us, it's in terms of distribution, deployment, enterprise trust, testing, compliance, these types of issues, which are really important in the enterprise. They take customers some time, and part of that is not excuse me, it's not just physical distribution. It is the speed and the confusion of customers sometimes, right? So you have to be in some ways a little bit patient in terms of they've got 7 different agentic harnesses and they're all trying to figure out which one they're going to use. And the answer is, do I use 5 of them, 2 of them, 7 of them? And so I think you have to be very careful in the distribution and the deployment pace to not outpace the customers and to help understand that. And at the same time, with look, AI being a new piece of technology, sometimes we're obsessed with removing friction. This is a quote from a good friend of mine. We get really obsessed in technology by removing friction. We think it's all going to be made better if we remove the friction. And actually, maybe what we need to be doing at the moment is increasing the comprehension. So the opposite, which is spending time to help your customers understand what it is. And there's no better example of this than a chat text box. Yeah. Right? Nowadays, Rovo chat is insanely powerful. It can do so many things inside our applications and other applications. It can take your Microsoft Teams transcripts and turn them into Jira issues, and then take those and make Confluence pages out of them and put it on my Trello board. And you can ask it to do all sorts of things. And by the way, tell me about the sentiment and use my own writing style. And like, people don't do that. They just stare at a text box and they're like, I wonder what this thing can do. And so how do we help increase their comprehension of the power we're giving them instead of just trying to kind of give them more power on a continual basis? And this, again, often we can outpace what it is that they can sort of understand. And I'm lucky enough to live, in Australia, which is very technically forward, but also a very sort of traditional economy, you might argue, in some ways. Mining, finance, education, tourism, lots of other fields here that aren't technology, even though our tech industry is really good. Yeah. And we don't have people who sit on 15 terminal windows simultaneously and are getting up every 2 hours to like poke their agents to go do some more work, et cetera. Like, that's not the norm of someone in a knowledge work job in a large corporation. It's just not. And one day, maybe it will be. God help us if that's how everybody works. But we can learn from those people and how they are working and try to bring some of that in, but we've got to increase the comprehension of the average knowledge worker. Someone who's very au fait with Outlook and Excel. And so you just have to be careful with the speed with which you're trying to ship technology. I think is a problem. You just leads to overwhelm, which leads to paralysis among your customers, I think is a danger. So we're really, really cautious about that.
Yes, great take.
Imagine. I know we are slightly over. We're incredibly over. I'm sorry, we've realised we're a lot over. I just have one question to ask you, which is more of a playful one. Just we covered it the other day. But did you see the agent that hacked the gym in Australia the other day?
I did indeed see that. Yes.
Any thoughts on that in general?
Look, I mean, we're happy to play our part in the cybercrime world here. It is very difficult to cancel gym memberships in Australia. I think in a lot of parts of the world. So maybe AI is serving humanity after all. I did think it was a bit harsh. We haven't heard from the person whose spin class got cancelled, by the way, who was probably like...
That's true. Where is that person?
What happened here? Someone's spin class just got randomly cancelled. Somewhere in the world, someone showed up for a spin class and they were like, sorry, we don't have a bike for you.
They have no idea.
Look, I think it found a quote unquote unauthenticated API and did this sort of thing. Luckily, it was in a relatively benign environment. We are going to run through a period of AI being able to find flaws in technology relatively quickly. I don't know what gym software they were using and how quickly the gym software company patched it, moved forward. That is also something that we've got to watch out for our pace of, right? You may think it's twice as fast to build software. Well, you may need twice as much time spent fixing patches that are coming in from agents that are booking gym classes. So, look, that's what we do down here. We're very fit, I guess. That's what we're putting our agents to do.
You'd love to hear it.
Getting the agents to book gym classes, we love to see it.
Mike, thank you so much for joining us, man. Really appreciate it. Welcome back anytime, of course. I know we have run a little bit over, but yeah, that always happens when we're having a good conversation. Congratulations on the earnings as well. You guys are crushing it, and yeah, we'd love to have you back.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, Mike. Have a good one.
We'll see you soon.
Cheers, dude. Ciao. That was such a fun interview. I love that. That was
legend.
That was awesome. The gym hacking thing is just so. Oh, it has to be asked. You know?
Yeah, of course. Let's talk about
Really good
Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. You might as well just pop over to polymarket.com. I want to touch, before we have Lukas on, about, I want to show you this video. Let me just pull it up real quick.
You got a vid?
Sam, can we pull this up? Can we just pull my screen up? Is that possible?
What have you got?
Here we go.
What's this?
This is the robots we're about to talk about to Lukas.
You've got you've got sound on the right. Wait, on the FT vid.
Is it going to play sound? I don't know if it does.
Maybe it won't.
No, I don't think it will. Oh, we've ruined it now.
Sorry, my fault.
Hold on. This is insane. Look at these robots. So this is from.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this is. Wow. This is from Unitree. These are the robots that have they've just gone through an IPO. They were 5,500 times oversubscribed on the IPO, and it's insane. Raised $900 million ahead of Shanghai listing, expected later this month.
Jeez, are these? Was it Unitree robot who kicked that child?
Have
you seen that video?
I don't know.
I mean, obviously it's awful because a child has been kicked, but it is so funny. It's incredibly funny.
Maybe.
They do one of those like public demos and like everyone's in a circle watching the robot and it's like working. The guy who's like, is not being controlled as well. It is just, it's probably being like teleoperated, but it's probably been set to a specific like training run.
Sure.
And in a similar fashion that we just saw on the screen, it's kind of doing these karate styled like jiu-jitsu moves. And then there's a child, I think as well, like to make her appear even more innocent. She has like a balloon in her hand, which
how do you know it wasn't AI generated?
It's almost staged. It's like, how could you, innocence?
It's too perfect.
Yeah, it's too perfect
of a scene.
And then the robot does a like spinning back kick into the child's stomach.
That would hurt. That's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Well, those things on that video, they were moving pretty quick, doing flips, doing all sorts, gainers and everything. Before we have our next guest on, Framer, build better sites faster. If you want to run a platform where enterprise teams design, build and ship production-ready websites, go to framer.com/ETN. Go get your sites. We're back with Lukas on the stream.
How are we, sir?
Yeah, I can confirm that the ball-kicking robot was Unitree, definitely.
Dude, that video. Nice. So you saw the video. Any thoughts on the video? Was it intentional?
Yeah, I don't think it was intentional. It was just showing, the risk of having the human in the loop still.
Okay.
And just not feeling the distances that the robot could do on its own. Yeah. I think we're gonna touch the Unitree topic a couple of times.
Well, let's do it right now. Let's jump straight in. What are your thoughts about Unitree? Give us the temp check. You know more about us. You know more than us about it. So what are your thoughts on this? I mean, 5,500 times oversubscribed is nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy. I also have seen some of the strategic investors like DeepSeek being on the cap table also before the IPO.
Yeah.
So listen, I think that Unitree is one of the most capable robotics platform these days. If you go to any university doing research on humanoids, you will see the Unitree G1, actually the one that that did the kick.
Yeah. Famous kick.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of the go-to embodiment when it comes to making research globally. So also like the price that they're promising to make, like starting from like I think $4K. It's ridiculously low. So the capabilities to price, it's just, I think it's an awesome ratio here. So quite bullish on them. And, considering what happened 2 weeks ago, I also prepared myself a couple of notes because there is so much news I want to share during our slot.
Amazing.
So, that the Trump administration via FCC banned kind of all the moving devices, not mentioning inverters, but rather the humanoids. So there's a big push in the US and in Europe to start making sovereign kind of parts for robots, like actuators, electronics, just to make sure that your supply chains are sort of independent from China. And I think this is a clear signal what happened in the US, that we also need to start thinking about the sovereign components for robotics. And I would love to speak a little bit more about it. Unfortunately, they are not yet out of stealth, but there are a couple of companies that are working on solving exactly that here in Europe. So that's it. But when it comes to the IPO itself, I think it's going to be massive for the whole robotics market, showing that, hey, a pure play humanoid maker. Because
it's the first one, right?
Yeah. I think UB Tech is already out there. I've seen the headlines, but then I decided to drop that kind of description because I know that UB Tech is already publicly traded.
Yeah.
I don't think UB Tech is pure play humanoid, but Unitree also has like robot dogs, but I think the majority of the sales and last year was mainly from humanoids, so we can call them that.
Yeah. Would you? That's a really interesting point. Would you say, because a lot of the conversations we had prior to the SpaceX IPO, one of the things that kept coming up when we talked to like space specific funds was that they were incredibly excited because it sheds more light on the industry in general. A bunch of new capital will flow into the space. A lot of new entrants will flow into the space. Yeah. So it can only just like completely revolutionize the industry. If someone was to tell you that for Unitree, what are your thoughts around that? Do you think that it can do something similar? How do you think it can play out?
Man, I can tell you that, when you see all these physical AI companies raising these big rounds, I can already see the appetite in, among venture investors, and some of them like being pure SaaS or marketplace players right now suddenly trying to have at least one deep tech or physical AI company as a portfolio company, so they can say, yeah, we are a deep tech fund too. So I can see that trend definitely. I think the next phase would be not just raising the rounds, but actually having the successful exits. And Unitree will be a grand example of that you can literally build a generational robotics company. You can IPO with that and you can go further. And just to back it, not even going away from let's stick with US. One news that I really wanted to highlight. It was company. I think they also have the EMEA headquarters in London. It's called Drone Deploy. Nice. What they do, they sort of build they have a robot brain applied for different embodiments, mainly for drones, and they have a huge use case in construction, monitoring and digitizing the construction environments. And they were acquired last week for $845 million by Procore, like a very verticalized player in the construction industry. Almost $1 billion for a company that is not making any headlines. Is not that sexy. It's not about humanoids. It's literally about capturing data at speed, at autonomy, and we're sold like for almost $1 billion last week. I mean, it didn't make the headlines, so I just wanted to make sure that we already are in that era, that we see, the horizon with a lot of acquisitions, with just bigger players starting to adding the portfolio, the robotics to their portfolio in general. Yeah.
And I think the what's happening with Unitree is you can see the kind of evolution from as you mentioned, right, it's like kind of the training data was the kind of first steps into whatever you're building, whether it is humanoids or something else within physical AI and deep tech. And now you can see, actual physical robotics companies kind of hitting certain milestones. There is that evolution. What do you feel? It's going to be the first time that there is a first kind of daily priced robotics company in the world, first time ever. What do you feel like that will do to, kind of, you'll be able to see kind of first time daily sentiment about the robotics industry. Is that something that, you feel like robotics founders are thinking about and they can play on and understand, like, okay, what's maybe hot or what's not in terms of the moves from maybe a Unitree or any other robotics company that might IPO?
Yeah, surely, like, Unitree robots need to start kicking people. That's gonna create a positive sentiment. I would say there's like a great pivot happening right now in the robotic space.
Okay.
So Andrew Kang going from Web3, from crypto, right now into robotics, like he literally built his own fund called RoboStrategy, which IPO'd on Nasdaq, as we know. So we can already see, and he's got secondaries of Uptronic, Figure, Dyna Robotics that I also wanted to talk about their latest model that literally were released yesterday. So you can already see, I think they're trading at like $30 per share. They started like 40. So for the past 3 months, I think they're being very stable, and it's literally just not just one robotics company inside of that fund, right? There's like multiple different robotics companies, so we can see that sentiment that you can sustain at that level. For now, it's just 3 months, but let's see what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen to the Unitree? As we know, there also was like the kind of SPAC IPO last month with Agility Robotics, pure play humanoids for logistics warehouses. I think we gotta observe. We need more data points, but it's happening, guys. So I think it's a great validation of the thesis that physical AI is the kind of next holy grail in the AI race, in general.
Exciting.
Connected to that, and I guess more along the lines of genuine like mass adoption over time, which is trending in a great direction. We had the guys who had one of the Tau robots in their door, like their flat in SF. And I was, they said it was pretty good. Like it was cheap. It was $30 a month, I think.
$30,
super cheap, right? Like so calm. It was cleaning most of the stuff in the flat pretty well. How far, and that to me was surprising to see so early and at such an affordable price. I'm not sure if it's
and not really doing the rounds in terms of, I thought that would be huge news. Obviously, like, it blew up the timeline, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Like I don't know if it is like a loss-making service that they're doing as like a marketing play, maybe. Like that could be an interesting way to look at it. But question, I guess, with all this in mind, how far away are we from having humanoid robots in our houses day to day?
Yeah. Okay. You literally asked me the same question, I think, in February.
Yeah.
My answer is not going to change that much. I think that when we are talking about the techno psychos, people that are like on the front run, they would adopt a humanoid even if it's fully teleoperated by a foreign guy and you don't trust it, but get at me, bro. Give me the humanoid. Yeah. Like, like you have the curve of innovation, of scaling the innovation. You would have these kind of, early adopters that would just take this technology at whatever cost, privacy, price. I'm going to have it. I would say, the set of values and the use cases that the robots are capable of performing these days are not that wide yet. What I'm saying, they are not able to generalize, that efficiently across different diverse tasks, different environments. And we all also need to keep in mind that, every house, every condo, every apartment is different. It's not like in a factory. Like you go into Volkswagen kind of factory in there's gonna be like 60% of all of them will look the same because they're standardized to some degree, so it's easier technically to deploy these robots in enterprise setups rather than in our houses. I would say you could have a relatively valuable humanoid by the end of next year. So you will kind of wait a year until all these people finally get the robot they asked to be shipped, because we know there is some sort of pre-commitment strategies, but they are not being shipped yet. I would say by the end of next year, you could have a humanoid in the US that is doing that is doing stuff, but there's definitely going to be some, training and teaching policies. So you as the end user will be able to teach the robot or fine tune it for your specific furniture or, cutlery, whatever. Your apartment. That's kind of my bet. That's what I see. So some friends of mine in SF, they build very impressive brains for humanoids already, and those robots are behaving really amazingly. But I think that, that's it 24/7 tasks. And to be at our homes, right? Rather than just a 20 minutes undisrupted long demo show. So that's it. I don't want to be too optimistic too, even though I'm super bullish on robotics. Just want to manage the expectations right.
Yeah, of course.
Very sensible.
I wanted to ask about, because you have more insight than us about what's going on in kind of Chinese robotics and how far they are compared to the Western world. Do you feel like you would answer that question the same with Chinese robotics in mind, or do you feel like they're way ahead, or that they're only a few months ahead? What's the insight there?
I would say that they are definitely super well positioned when it comes to building hardware. I mean, the connections to government, this kind of playbook of creating different players, building the same product, consolidating them, eventually building your own kind of country champions, as exactly what happened with DJI, exactly what's happening right now with Unitree, with that difference that humanoids look like a much bigger market. That's why we have also additional players in that kind of queue of becoming the next Unitree, of the next IPO player in China. So when it comes to speed, velocity of building hardware components, I think they are really great. I think they are lagging behind when it comes to software, and you can see that, you can feel that if you interact with the Chinese robot. I'm not blaming kicking this little fella. That it was a software issue. Sorry, I just I can't forget about it. But
good video.
It's a good video. I love it. But I would say on the software side we've got this advantage.
Interesting. And that's the way that you I guess control the robot if you need to, or train it, or whatever it is. That's what you're saying. The kind of software to control said robot.
That's right.
Maybe a little bit behind, but the actual physical manufacturing parts of the robot. The
robot brain itself. I would say that we all know that this modern software stack for robotics, it includes a heavy pipeline of data. So I'm not saying they don't have that data, because I'm sure they do. And we all know, there are some companies that are claiming they are not data factories, but in fact they are, and they employ a huge amount of people in China who are wearing some headsets and collecting that data just to feed the models. Model equals a software to me in that part. So I would say we have more capable models in the US, hopefully very soon in Europe too.
Kind of connected to that in a way, the teleo operation market. I feel that I'm seeing even startups in the UK, in other areas of Europe, start to set up teleo-operated startups, essentially working on this technology, which for me is a sign of bullishness. It's a sign of further adoption. Would love to know your thoughts on the size of this market in general. I found it interesting. I think it was Figures did that live stream that was 48 hours. It was meant to be for 6, and then they ended up pushing it up. There were loads of comments around was that teleoperated? There's a moment where the robot itches its head, kind of why does that robot have an itchy head? What are we looking at with the teleoperation market?
Let's clarify it. I think that you can hate or you can love Figure, but what they did, it was outstanding, and it was definitely not teleoperated. If you have some sort of scratching head, you can always think about it that there is sort of data set that contained maybe teleop data. And someone scratched their heads. It was in the data, but it wasn't someone controlling a robot. Robot thought it's a
that's interesting.
Standard behavior.
Okay, this was not a take on any of the time. They kind of blew up on the timeline, and no one really mentioned, the data behind it. Someone might have scratched their head in that data, and therefore it kind of dissolved into what the data that the robot was looking. But that is actually a thing. Surely they can just remove that part of that data bit.
Yeah. It comes to post-filtering all of data, but it can happen. It's like if you have egocentric data collection and you record people when they are cooking, and for example, you're cutting onions, and you're gonna be moving your kind of hand unnaturally. The robot's gonna
of course.
that unless you tell the robot specifically not to repeat that part. So we need to kind of post-filter that, right? But it can happen. So for me, it was completely legit. When it comes to teleop, I think that Jim Fan, who is like that G in the space, like he's like the go-to guy. I think he's like the research director at NVIDIA, and he's great. And he mentioned at one of the Sequoia Ascent event that the egocentric data is the way to go, because it's much more scalable and you can collect much more data in a shorter period of time. So that's the way to go. If NVIDIA says something, it might be a self-fulfilling prophecy at some point, but I think that people understand that teleoperation data is a very unique type of data that they still need it. This is a very unique approach to also control the robot and put the human in the driver's seat if needed. So put the human in the loop. So there is so much value in teleop data as well. And if you are speaking about, probably you had in mind James Naylor from Adamo, also from London, who is creating like a teleop platform.
James.
Yeah. He's great, and
he's going to come in and show us his robot at some
point.
Oh, nice. Okay,
so you should come. You should come by the studio.
Yeah, and probably if you're gonna show these different robots, he's also gonna tell you about the importance of latency. How the latency matters here. I wanted also to say teleop is like one of the couple of ways to collect data, but we all know that having teleoperators also in the autonomous vehicles industry when they literally started, there was a lot of that, and we gonna need that very high quality data collected by humans with sort of the same embodiment, which means that the same robot is collecting the data that will be transferred to the same robot. So much like kind of couple of classes above when it comes to data quality. So I think we will need both eventually.
Okay, interesting.
I just pinged James to tell him that you gave him a shout out on the show. So hopefully he sees.
Just before we let you go, unless you have a hard stop, can I ask another question?
I have another question as well.
Oh.
Sure, I don't have a hard stop. I didn't even start with the news, guys. Yeah.
Okay. Just before we let you go and before Ronan's question as well, I wanted to go back to kind of beginning of the interview, and you kind of mentioned the sovereignty piece in terms of, there's going to be a time when our ability to procure and manufacture certain parts of the robot is going to become very, very important. Can you kind of give us a temperature check generally about the European continent and how advanced we are in that kind of time and that space for manufacturing these parts that we are inevitably going to need, and what that even looks like? I have no idea about that side of the market.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Happy to do like a short highlight of that. So first of all, I think we are very uniquely positioned to manufacture these parts. Mm-hmm. We've been a continent that was famous for really great precision manufacturing. If you look like clockwork industry in Switzerland, or generally automotive industry in the biggest shyness, like even a couple of years ago in Germany, across. So I think we've got the machinery, we've got the talent, we've got the right expertise. I would say the tribal knowledge too, to some degree. So that's what makes us really, really good at being at the frontier of creating the components for robots, drones, and generally for that. Think of that like the humanoid robot is probably like 30 or 40 different motors, different sizes. It depends if that's a motor for the leg or for the hand, whatever. So it's all about making stuff that we've been doing for literally hundreds of years, maybe 300 years at least. Maybe just, miniaturized, or so different sizes, different configurations. But we already have handful startups doing purely components because they found the market sexy enough to building, hey, let's build picks and shovels for the humanoid revolution, and we're gonna be supplying different companies. We must also know that we already have companies like Synapticon in Germany, Schaeffler, like these are the companies that might be great partners to help smaller players eventually join the stage, and also being a very tempting, acquisition kind of mecca for them. So that's what makes it unique. And I would love to speak about at least two of them, but I think in a couple of weeks/months, it's gonna be very loud about them. These are companies that are not just building actuators, which are motors or electronics for these robots. They are building full-scale, end-to-end robots. So, their business is gonna be like double-sworded. They could sell the components to, different companies that might or want to start building robots, and they also gonna be, creating their own bots eventually. So that's how it looks like here, and it's great to see more initiatives in that space. I think when 2 years ago it wasn't that good of a space, that sexy space of just building the picks and shovels. But I think what we see right now, FCC ban, and everyone wants to be sovereign. Some big end users not accepting Chinese humanoids to be working them, even because they are scared of the kind of cybersecurity issues if that data is being transported back to China. So there is so we are at the stage that enterprise clients want robots, but there are some prerequisites to that, and that's why I think it's a great thing to start solving here in Europe.
Definitely.
Really cool. A nice rallying cry. My question is less useful, I'd say, from an informative basis. I wanted to ask about the Centaur robot from was it like Cestris or something like that? I forget the name of the company now, but the one that released the Centaur robot with the horns, if you saw that went viral on the timeline.
Oh yeah, like with the CISO, literally with the CISO.
What's your take? What's your take?
Why did they make it look like that?
Yeah, I would say maybe they just wanted to disrupt the Euromaxing people and start talking about Centaur robot. I literally have no clue, because I don't think it makes sense. Like this embodiment completely doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks cool. It's a Centaur bot, man. Like
it looks sick. I will give it.
But it was
really cool.
it was straight from the company account as well. Like when I saw that photo, I thought, someone's AI, put a chainsaw in there. But no, this is an actual ad photo for the robot, and
it's called Free Halves Super Humanoid General Purpose Robot. I'm just checking them. Yeah, it's real. It looks like it's real. It looks like it's gonna replace all the lumberjacks in the US.
Who knew lumberjacks?
But it's so weird. It's like it has it's for rescuing people in, like, let's say in a natural disaster. So like if they were in like a wildfire and you need to be rescued, that's what comes to rescue you, is what they were saying. But like, why would they not make it, like a cat, something like that, like something that's more consumer friendly?
Yeah, might be. And actually, their use case, I just checked, it is literally like lumberjacking. So if you work around, that's the kind of main core use case. So
there's already great machineries that pick up a tree.
That's what I wanted to say. Like,
and will pull a tree through. And,
kind of cool though, to be fair.
It is cool. It is cool, but seems like a bit of a waste of time.
True.
Yeah. I would say this is purely like some gimmicks.
Just marketing.
Yeah. If they I'm gonna bite my tongue if they go IPO next year for Husqvarna Ventures. But it looks like we already mastered these kind of machines that are helping us with the lumberjacking industry pretty well, and they don't look like humans, and they are much more efficient than us.
I agree. It does not need to be disrupted.
Exactly.
I know we are over, so we can end it there, Lukas. Always so good to catch up. I'm so glad we got to do this again. We're always looking for people that can help us when news comes out, and robotics is a domain that you are the master of. So welcome back on any time.
Next time, I'm gonna be managing the time a bit better, because I didn't actually sell all the news I wanted, because I thought we have 30 minutes. It's all on me. Mea culpa. It's my bad.
Oh, mate, go now.
Tell us news.
You can do this last bit of news, 100%.
Okay,
we've got 6 minutes.
Free news out of, I just prepared it, so I'm just gonna go for it. So first of all, Generative Bionics, the Italian-based humanoid maker, just partnered with AMD, and they have released a great soft skin humanoid robot last week. One to watch, definitely. Great founder from Italy. Next one, Reimagine Robotics. sort of even quoting from Forbes, monkey see, monkey do, sort of training for robots. From London, ex-Google DeepMind, ex-Googler from DeepMind, who started that company last week. One to watch, definitely. It's called quick learning, like instant learning policies for robots. Dyna Robotics yesterday announced a new model, very capable, based on 1 million hours of training data. And okay, last news. It's gonna be US based. So 2 companies, Pav Robotics, welding, Grey Matter Robotics, sanding and grinding, got like almost $1 billion contract from HII, US Navy shipbuilder. That was all last week. So we don't only have acquisitions, IPOs, but we also have really great contracts already being landed by the robotics companies. Guys, it was a pleasure. And so sorry for stressing it out at the end.
No, of course.
That's why we're here, man. We're here to serve. So good to see you again. Thank you for coming on, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you very soon again.
We'll see you soon, sir.
Cheers, Lukas. Have a good one.
Ciao.
What a legend.
What a legend. Base, another legend. The infrastructure for the on-chain world. Base is built to empower builders, creators, and people everywhere to build apps, grow businesses, create what they love and learn on-chain. Go to base.org. We're right back.
We have 4 minutes till our next guest breaks down the door into the show, because the CEO of Nextdoor, and they've been breaking down the door of their earnings report. That is Nirav Tolia. He's coming on in 4 minutes. Maybe before we bring him in,
we talk about NVIDIA.
We could chat. This did. It did take over the timeline a little bit.
Not a ton. But let's jump in.
Huge funding round. Wall Street giants have partnered with NVIDIA on a $500 billion AI financing deal. Apollo.
Wrong one. Sorry, everyone.
More like a. Wait, what? That's the cha-ching one, no? Maybe we're having some malfunction here on our soundboard internally.
We're having errors. Errors coming in.
Errors galore. Look at that. Takes over the whole screen. So the funding round. Apollo, Blackstone, and Goldman Sachs are among the groups working with the chip maker to raise capital for the data center boom. Straight away, a lot of the discourse. Are we seeing circular deals come back? People were saying this wasn't actually a circular deal. It was a spherical deal where everyone's
chiming in left, right, and center. Yeah, indeed.
The world's largest financial groups are working with NVIDIA to assemble a funding package of more than $500 billion for AI infrastructure development in one of Wall Street's most ambitious lending efforts to date. This was broken by the FT yesterday. I'm forgetting the name of the individual who had the scoop, but I really like the way that they got the scoop out there. It was like they just tweeted from their account something big coming from the FT shortly. It was really funny.
Nice.
It was like we're seeing the scoop artists develop their means of deployment on X. Traditionally it was just like company Twitter account, post link, no text.
Done.
Then it was company
They're
Twitter
evolving.
account, post text with link. Now it's the scoop artists are coming in with, and then it was like, I'm the person who got the scoop. Here's the scoop. Here's some text. Here's the link. Now there's a pre-warning like, yo, big scoop dropping soon. Like
maybe they'll drop the next evolution is they drop like a
trailer
hype video
of the scoop. Who's building that?
A hype video for FT articles.
I know.
We want that. Put us,
Maddie
we'll fund it. We'll fund it.
Axios should do this for her next big scoop. We'll reach out. Our teams will talk. We can make something happen. But maybe this is the new meta. Hype reels
new scoop
for the scoop.
We'll edit the video.
Like a Stephen Bartlett style trailer video for the scoop.
Well, we've made a few for some of our famous people in tech. A few of our famous folk. But for an actual article in Axios or FT or any of these trad media companies, this would be. I think this is the next evolution. I'm bullish.
Yeah.
I would fund it.
It would be good. Just a few details about the deal. We can go through this kind of quickly because we do have next guest coming on literally in 60 seconds. The partnership underscores NVIDIA's growing efforts to cultivate ties with Wall Street. We've seen this. They're getting a lot closer. They need capital as a source of capital for itself and its clients to continue assembling the chips, power production, and data centers at the heart of the AI boom. A lot of people are excited about Neo Labs benefiting from this.
Yeah. It's a lot of money. It's he's $500 billion secured for their customers. That's a good.
Meanwhile,
a good chunk of change.
UK Frontier AI Lab.
15 million.
15 mil.
Let's go.
Can we please give Cosign some more money guys. Please. They have 15 mil.
Shout out to James Wise, please.
Maybe James can help out with that. It just like literally that's basically everything that's going on in the article. It's just like we're giving them a load more money again. Is it circular financing? There wasn't really too much on the timeline. A lot of the takes were this is generally good for neoclouds, but then this was kind of the main narrative was around the circular financing.
Yeah, but he's basically figured out a way, and this was going to take him. It's not going to the hyperscalers, Amazon, Microsoft, Google. It's going to go to neoclouds, OpenAI, Anthropic, SpaceX. So he's basically figured out a way to rapidly level up the smaller guys against the hyperscalers, which, I mean, kudos to him because he's got the whole of Wall Street basically putting in a chunk. Apollo, Blackstone, Goldman, all of them. Essentially... Yeah, huge secular deals going on.
But their share price fell actually when FT reported the news. It's climbing back up right now, but at the moment, the FT actually have a graphic on their website that shows the time in which they reported the news. I don't know whether it would be the time in which our friend there dropped the trailer, the announcement.
Minute before, get a bit of hype.
Yeah. Is it circular financing? I don't know. It seems to be like it is on the timeline.
Before we have our next guest on, MetaView, AI agents for winning teams, the agentic recruiting platform built for radically efficient hiring, end-to-end, source, engage, and hire better with agents that truly get your brief. Go to metaview.ai. They're legends over there. We can have our next guest on.
Here. Let's hear about the amazing things that Nextdoor are up to following a generational earnings run. Nirav, how are you? Welcome to the European Technology Network.
I'm doing great.
It's great to have you.
Great. Awesome to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
No, it's great to have you, sir. You've got some amazing news to share. A big congratulations for you. Maybe it's just better coming from the horse's mouth. Why don't you tell us what Nextdoor have reported on the recent earnings?
Yeah, it's fun to be on a show after you report landmark earnings, which we did last week. So last week we announced that we had the best quarter, at least financially, in the company's history.
Let's go.
And not only did we have record revenue and record profit, et cetera, we actually grew the engagement of the platform, which is probably the most important thing with a consumer internet asset.
Sure.
Because when I returned to the company 2 years ago, the company appeared to be at least stagnating, if not shrinking. And so to turn that around and start to grow again, that's a pretty difficult trick in consumer internet world. But I think we're starting to do it.
Amazing. Oh, yeah. That was the main question that I had because I remember seeing that and thinking that's awesome. What have you guys focused on over the last 2 years to kind of turn that around? Because that's really that, as you're saying, right? That's the thing that if you can do that, everything else follows. It's all downstream from usage and weekly active users.
Yeah, we focused on the probably most simple but difficult thing for our company, and that's creating a better product. At the end of the day, if you're a consumer product and you have users, in our case, we have over 100 million that have registered for Nextdoor and over 20 million using it every week. The quality of your product determines the quality of your company. And at Nextdoor, our product had stagnated. And so the company had stagnated. And as the product gets better, the company should get better. And the last few quarters, we've been able to put those numbers on the board. And so it's starting to feel a lot better than it did a few years ago.
Yeah,
amazing. Well, congrats to you. I thought it kind of trails into a question that I think you guys are at the epicenter of this. You're building like on top of the trust model, and I wanted to ask about how you guys think about building trust, especially with everything that's going on, kind of macro right now with AI and everything. But how do you guys think about kind of building that trust within the communities that you guys are working for?
Well, you just talked about that $500 billion deal, right?
Yeah.
Which makes Nextdoor look quite small. But the reality is our industry is going through a massive shift. And that shift is the embrace of AI, which I believe is going to be the largest transformation that we've seen in our lifetimes, not just for our industry, but for the world. And amidst that shift, we are going to see a lot of synthetic content. Now, AI is amazing. I'm a huge proponent of AI. I use AI every day, but we know that there are going to be some downsides. And one of the downsides is, who do we trust online when so much of the content is going to be created by AIs? And the way we've thought about it at Nextdoor from the very beginning, even predating this AI boom, is that you want to listen to real humans that live in the area around you. Those are your neighbors. Those are the people you trust. Not necessarily because you've spent a lot of time with them or because they're your best friends, but because they are like you. They've chosen to live in the same area. They have a home or an apartment that's similar to yours. And so they have the same taste. They have the same socioeconomic status. And so Nextdoor believes that to truly build a trusted platform where you can trust that the information you're getting is coming from real people like you have to have verified identity. Yeah. You can't just rely on the comments that you see on platforms like X or LinkedIn, because we know that double-digit percentage of those comments are created by bots. And so Nextdoor is very different. There are no bots. There's no AI that is creating content on behalf of the humans. It's real humans. It's verified neighbors. It's the people who live around you using their real names and confirming that they have addresses that are in your neighborhood. And so it's a step above anything else you're going to see in this synthetic world. And we think it's going to be extremely valuable and more valuable as time goes on.
Yeah, okay.
Really cool.
Go on.
I was going to say, in the age of AI, like building consumer apps historically has been incredibly difficult to do. I think you could argue both ways that with AI, it's probably easier and also harder depending on what type of thing you're trying to build and focus on. You mentioned it's like record earnings. How large of a part has AI played in this like transformation internally that we're now seeing these amazing results?
Well, let me answer the first part of your question first, which is it is easier to build things, but it is increasingly harder to get distribution. And that's not just an AI thing. That's actually true of the consumer internet over the last couple of years. If you think about it, with the exception of TikTok, there has been no great consumer app that's come on the scene. And that's because most of the distribution is owned by Google or by the Meta properties or by Amazon or by Netflix. Now, ChatGPT came along and was the fastest to scale to 1 billion users. So lots of props to them. But the building is not actually the hard part in the world of AI. It's the distribution. It's getting the world out, because consumers increasingly go to only a few places. And that's what we felt so good about to bridge this into earnings. We actually generate our own traffic. We don't depend on search engine optimization or other places for distribution. And so in an AI-centric world, we don't have to worry about losing our traffic because our traffic is actually organic. Nice. Now, those results, how did AI influence those? If you're a technology company today and you're not fully embracing AI, I think you're behind the ball. And so across the board in our company, we are using AI to make things more efficient, to build faster, to build more efficiently. We're improving the consumer experience with AI-centric features. And so we have real content from real humans, but summarizing that content is something that AI can do in a really radically useful way. And then finally, we're using AI to create a better experience for our advertisers. We are a free service for consumers, but we advertise through in-feed newsfeed advertising. And we can make those ads a lot more efficient using machine learning. We can improve the relevance of those ads, improve the performance. And so whether it's the company, the consumer product, or the advertising product, AI actually works across the board.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the depth of the depth of kind of like hyper local AI and advertising, that kind of relationship, because you guys were, you were sitting on like what 14, 15 years of kind of like very local data. That's very rare. What did you see when 2 years ago when you came back and you thought, okay, we have all of this data. AI is kind of just starting to kind of move into be adopted by the enterprise and by consumers, and we're moving into this AI age. What were you thinking back then, and thinking, okay, we can use this to benefit the product, because a lot of people would see that and go, oh wow, AI is going to take kind of everything, and market shares going to drop. What did you think to go? Okay, we can use this, as a successful mechanism, not something that might slow down growth.
Well, 2 years is an eternity in our industry, as you all know. I mean, if you think about how much AI has changed, even the last month, right? Yeah. It would have been impossible to predict just a few years ago where we would be today. But some things haven't changed. And in particular, what hasn't changed is you have to be able to create your own content, and you have to own that content, and you need to have a source for distribution. So it's those two things that I talked about earlier. The first is you need to have human-generated content, and I knew that Nextdoor had that. And the second is you need to be in control of your distribution. And so I knew that Nextdoor had that. The third and final thing is I did have a feeling that as we relied more and more on AI in our personal lives, we would start to value more human connections. And so for me, the age of intelligence that is upon us is one of the most wonderful things that we'll experience in our lives. But we need to pair that age of intelligence with human connection. And so even though Nextdoor felt like a non-native AI company when I came back, I mean, the company was started in the summer of 2010. There were no AI companies back then. I was very confident that we could both evolve and be an AI company, but also keep what was at our DNA. And that was human connection. Yeah.
There's a small segue within that. We mentioned a few days ago a conversation with the founder of HumanX, who runs the technology event over in San Francisco. They're doing an event in Europe in September in Amsterdam. And it was this whole, we've been seeing a resurgence back to that sort of community level. This would obviously speak to Nextdoor quite a lot, but that sort of local aspect of in-person meetings, connecting with friends. And you kind of mentioned it a little bit, like traditionally in the past, that might be a social media platform that you go to, but like the last time we all checked, the social media apps aren't really social anymore. They're just more news apps in a way, right? The For You page kind of killed that a little bit. You don't really go on, X or Instagram to catch up with friends. You go on to explore and use it like a search engine in a way. You would be curious to hear your take on that high level, like this resurgence of local community-based engagement, and where do people congregate now? Where do you go to meet up with your friends?
I think that's a great point. And there are a couple of mega trends that are happening, and we need to be aware of all of them. I read an article in the New York Times yesterday about the atomization of people in the United States. And I don't think it's just in the United States. And that is the idea that we are increasingly relying on our devices to find information and people than going out in the real world. That's a trend that's been happening even predating the creation of Nextdoor. In fact, in many ways, it was an inspiration for Nextdoor that technology had done so much to connect us virtually to people. Couldn't it do something to help us connect with people in the real world? But the other big mega trend, and you're exactly right, social networks have moved from community apps to broadcast apps. Instagram is no longer a place where I'm scrolling through a feed of my friends' content. It's a place where I'm scrolling through a feed of incredible content from influencers and other people who I consider to be experts in their fields. So where are we going to go to break the ice? And that's virtually break the ice, meaning we can meet with them and it's higher leverage to actually do it on your phone. But then ultimately you want to transition that into the real world. And so what we've seen is a real need and a desire to both meet those people who live around us and then have an easy way to connect with them. But in the real world, you can't really go up to someone you don't know and start talking to them. That seems a little weird socially these days, right? But online, you can break the ice. You can get to know people. You can see what people are talking about. You can join the conversation. And then our hope is that Nextdoor can be that stimulus that takes you from those online conversations to those offline ones. And if you think about it for a second, if there were a social app out there that introduced you to a new person, that's valuable. But if there were a social app out there that introduced you to a new person in the real world, that would be sublime. And that's what we're trying to do with Nextdoor.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I love that. I love that exposure. Maybe we could just hear like high level, like next 6 months, 12 months, what does it look like for you guys? Anything that you're particularly focused on? Anything that you're kind of seeing as a really great position to attack or go forward with? What's getting you guys pumped?
I remember when we were a private company, I would look at some CEOs of public companies and how every single earnings cycle, they would say the same thing, right? So I'm going to basically say the same thing, right? Which is we're going to stay focused on the product. At the end of the day, we believe very deeply that the better our product is, the better our company is going to become. And so we finally have a little bit of traction, and that is the result of 2 years of extremely hard work by our team. And so they're just going to keep doing what they're doing because we know that even though we have 20 million people every week that rely on Nextdoor, we have 100 million people who've signed up. So if we can just get that 20 million to 25, 30, 35, 40, this company can be a lot more valuable than it is today. And we know that's going to happen.
Amazing. Before we let you go, I wanted to ask, what are those things that you guys, what are the bottlenecks for you guys? What are those things that you think, okay, if we can smash this and we can crack this problem, it can really kind of grow Nextdoor further and further and further. What are those things that kind of come to mind?
Well, like most community apps, and I'm not talking about the social apps now, I'm talking about community apps.
Yeah.
The internet can be a wild and woolly place. And people complain a lot and they get into online fights, and they shouldn't do that on Nextdoor because these are their actual neighbors. But we are a reflection of the communities in which we live. And so the more that we get our audience focused on constructive, utilitarian, community-centric conversations that bring them together,
Yeah.
the better you'll feel about Nextdoor and the better you'll feel about where you live. And that's the real potential of the company. And I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, massive,
Awesome.
massive.
Love to hear
Nirav, been super fun. Congrats again on the amazing news. We'd love to have you back on next time. And sounds like you guys are crushing. So keep it up.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. And I hope next quarter I can tell you the same thing.
Hell yeah, dude. We love it. We love it.
We'll see you soon,
Legend.
dude.
Cheers, man.
Good to meet you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
What a beast. Absolutely love that.
What a beast. Talking about another beast, 11 Labs, AI that communicates at a human level across every channel and modality, deploy conversational agents across every customer interaction, and create on-brand content at scale. Go to 11labs.io. Legend over there.
We'll bring Daria in shortly. Before we do that, I think maybe we could just talk about, I think we touched on it very briefly. She'll be joining us in the next minute or two.
Imminently.
Did we bring it up? I'm not sure if we did. But okay, we can just discuss it. I mentioned it very briefly, but UK's Solve AI model, Cosign. Now, we've had one of the founders on before. I actually reached out earlier this morning. We connected on LinkedIn again to tee up another chat because we'd love to get these guys, in the studio or back on sometime. I'm getting word that we have a next guest coming in, so we can come back to this. We have too much news.
We'll be back.
Let's do it. Let's bring Daria into the studio. Daria, welcome to the show.
Hi guys. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining. We finally managed to get it in. I know there's been some back and forth behind closed doors, but we did it. We're here. We're having a good time. How have things been? You were at the NASDAQ last week, was it?
I know. So actually, last time we were scheduled to talk, it would be right inside the NASDAQ building. But I just came back from New York, where our portfolio company, IQM, the leading quantum computer company from Europe, got publicly listed at NASDAQ, and we had a fantastic ring the bell ceremony together.
Amazing! Congratulations. That must have been super fun. Just off the back of that, there are a bunch of questions that I have. What does this mean for Europe? I think it represents something in a small way. There, we're seeing a quantum company list. Predominantly, the conversations have usually been for this frontier emerging technology, maybe US focused. You mentioned it is the first. Like, how did they get to this position? What does it mean for Europe as a continent? Will we see a lot more?
I hope so. So the answer is yes. I hope it's not the first, but definitely not the last one. So look, we always talk about US and China nowadays being leading in technology. I think quantum is actually the space where Europe can be very proud of our research, of our scientific community, and also first companies getting to commercial stage in this very nascent market. And I think given the nascent aspect of this character of this market, IQM started immediately thinking very globally, because the market is global. It's not like a Finnish or a German market, right? They started out of Espoo, which is a little town out of Helsinki, then very quickly expanded to Germany, or one of the founders is German, so there was Munich after that. Munich is the place to be in Germany, and then kind of went globally, Asia and US. I think it's a very good example of a company where we think like sovereignty and European independence in technology matters, but I think when you build the best global players, you will become sovereign and independent. Sovereignty shouldn't be just the main goal of that. And I think for Europe it shows, hey, that happens. We invested in 2022. It was the Series A we led as World Fund. Now it's 2026. We rang the bell. It's happening. I see a lot of kind of the value creation potential for them. They are number one companies when it comes to selling computer system in the world. You know, not IBM with their 2 billion budget yearly, IQM with, trust me, less budget yearly.
So cool. so cool.
That was one of the biggest questions I wanted to ask when we got this in the calendar, was about the. I think in Europe we have we kind of look around too much almost, right? And it's like we can build incredible companies and say sovereignty is the main focus, but when you build the best company, you by proxy have sovereignty. Do you think that there needs to be that shift in mindset? Do you think what will the IQM kind of listing and bell ring kind of ceremony at NASDAQ kind of do for that narrative?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. We actually at World Fund, we even published a report about that. Kind of gone from resilience back to power play of Europe. Think proactively, aggressively regaining the power position in the world. That should be our ultimate goal. And this happens when we build the best, globally the best companies in the main core areas, which is computing and AI, of course, but also abundant energy access, critical materials, industrial capacity, for sure security. And I think if we do that, if this mind shift happens, then, we'll have a society which is sovereign, which is resilient, and also decarbonized, by the way.
Yeah, let's talk about.
And I believe,
sorry, go on. No, I cut you off, please.
And you ask, what does it mean? I think we all are led by the power of pictures, right? Of images, and I believe that, this the happiness we had last week at the NASDAQ, and the European founder Jan Goetz standing in front of everybody, saying like, "Here we are, we're ringing the bell." I believe that gives her more courage, and maybe, I don't know if I can say it here online, grow more balls.
You absolutely can say that. We our guests swear all the time. It's all good. We love that, but I agree. It does feed into that narrative. We need more examples of people winning. I'm not sure if you just mentioned, we always use the Matties and the Antons at 11 Labs and Lovable as examples of what can happen when you see people succeed and the trickle-down effects of that. You mentioned decarbonization. There was something that we wanted to ask in terms of like the trends in like climate tech at the moment. Where are people looking? Are people looking? I know there's been a load of discourse around it over the last 5 years. Was incredibly hot for quite a while, but I don't think we've had the pleasure of hosting many climate founders since the show. What is a temperature check, if you pardon the pun?
Well, the temperature check, like with the risk of taking the risk of making a very flat joke. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, it's been quite hot. So I think,
love it.
Look, I think the answer is there are probably 3 layers to that, right? There is the political sentiment, which has been negative and quite anti. Any climate-related conversations, both in the US and also, to be honest, in Germany or in Europe. Then there is the reality check, right? And the reality temperature check is that climate is changing. I would not even refer it as a crisis. I mean, we're in the middle of catastrophe. If you look at the last couple of summers, and even now, we're all at it's just too hot. And it's not only about our, your personal feeling of heat, right? But it also about 3 billion losses around agriculture and crops, right? Which then will be translated to your supermarket prices. It's about the water, right? The groundwater, the water in the rivers. Maybe if you've seen this, again, the power of pictures. In Romania, they had to put explosive in Danube in order to get more water to cool their nuclear reactors. In Hungary, they had to shut it down, right? The biggest river traffic in Germany on Rhine is now going down because the water is so low. So it has direct economic influence. And I think we've been very short-sighted to say we as in politics, unfortunately, and also big corporates, to see like, look, we can create a future where climate is not a factor in any kind of equation for prosperity of this future. And I think that's short-sighted and wrong. And we see it now, and it's going to hit us even more. The good news is we have all the solutions we need. 48% of technology we need to hit our 2035 goals are already there. Look at our portfolio, right? Or a portfolio of other companies, of our VCs. And then like 47% something has still to be developed. We need to invest now. There's technologies like fusion energy, right? So yeah, I think it's not trendy now, but as a venture capitalist investing in the early stage, you shouldn't be investing in trends. You should be ahead of the curve, and the curve is definitely very hot right now.
Yeah, definitely. I did want to kind of touch on the climate side in terms of this data center build out and what that means for everything that But back when kind of climate was trendy, that was less of a conversation, and now, especially over the past let's say 8 months, it's been the thing that we need to do because we don't have enough supply for the demand of compute. What does the kind of data center build out mean for this kind of climate conversation? Does it just make it it makes it way more important, but how bad could it get considering everything that's going on within data centers?
Yeah, let's not talk about the bad scenario. Let's talk about what are the solutions out there. AI is hungry, compute is hungry. We've known that. As World Fund, we already started investing in compute thesis around 2022 with IQM is a good example for that, right? Yeah. SpaceForge is another. We have several other examples. We talk about something like green compute. So there are solutions both on the hardware side, like quantum or neuromorphic photonics. There are compression AI solutions on the software side as well to make sure that the power demand goes down, is at least capped or even decrease.
Sure.
There are cooling solutions as well. There are several fantastic startups. One is from Lausanne, for example, Corinthis, working on that solution. So again, yes, it's a hungry eye, and I don't think that we can stop it. We never in the past, in the existence of humanity, we could stop progress, but there are solutions how to be smart about it. And I believe we have fantastic technology providers and startups in Europe.
Great.
Yeah, really cool, really cool. I guess a question more just for where you guys are looking right now. Recent deals that you've been covering, and the whole conversation has kind of been around the IQM connected to that, but anything recently that you guys have been investing in that's getting you really excited? Where should people be looking right now? Where are you guys looking?
Yeah. IQM got me very excited at the Nasdaq, but okay, fair question. No, we recently invested in more interesting, also quantum deals. Quantum Diamond is one good example. We just announced 91 million in Series A couple of weeks back, which World Fund led. I'm on the board. It's a Munich-based company. They use quantum sensing technology in order to do the best-in-class failure analysis for chip production. Today in the lab and then soon to be in line. Already now working, again, thinking globally from day one, working with major international chip manufacturers. Actually, the one unique quantum sensing offering of such out of Europe, out of Munich. So that's a company to watch. For sure, we also invested in a company called Hyperscale Power. They focus on solid state transformers, again, underlying technology, but mostly for grid enhancement. Fantastic space to see innovation, 140 years old technology. Sounds very boring, but it's actually very exciting. And maybe last but not least, we also invested in LithoSquare, and these guys use models, AI models, in order to do critical material discovery. And all of these topics which I just mentioned are also fit very well with the sovereignty and geopolitical context, as well as in climate and decarbonization context. And I think one key message from our side is that it doesn't have it's not one or another. It's actually very much interconnected today.
Yeah. That's really cool. That last one is looks like a fascinating space. Do they sit in the same space as like a cusp AI? It's like material discovery, natural material discovery as well. That looks like a really cool one. I think it aligns a lot with this trend that we're seeing now towards like frontier models being pointed towards creating new things in general, whether that's like the intersection of biology and AI, which we covered earlier on the show, or like chemistry and AI, but I guess like material sciences as well. Viruses, we saw 16 viruses were created the other day. Very cool. I know we've only got about 30 seconds left. Any like particular thing you guys are focused on in the next 6 months, like a new like thesis-wise or direction-wise?
Yeah. We are raising our next fund. We want to double down on European deep tech and in energy industry and also food and ag. We still believe decarbonization one big major growth driver, and we want to make sure that European companies have the chance to think and grow globally.
Great.
Amazing. Look at that.
And IQM is a great example of that.
It is.
So yeah, congrats on the work, and thanks for coming on. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye.
See you, Daria. Have a good one.
Soon.
Ciao.
Legend. Cool. What a legend. Talking about legends. Airwallex. Leave our database bank behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all-in-one platform. Go to airwallex.com. We're back. Okay, we are back. We have 30 minutes of news. Let's talk about Cosign.
We can go back to Cosign. Cosign. I want to get Cosign back on. I want to give them more money. I want to give these guys more money. I don't have any money, but if I did, I would give it to Cosign. This is a sort of a bit of a deep dive that the FT put out the other day. I'm assuming this is off the back of the DeepMind shake-up. I think that makes sense to put this out.
It's the next, sovereign AI model. It's the big bet.
Well, the only
it's had a load of money being pumped into it as well. So yeah, it's great.
Well, has it? Has it had a load of money pumped into it? Not really. London-based Cosign, UK government backed. So but we are pro this. We love this. We love the Cosign guys. This is more just a rally cry to We
want more.
Can we give them more money? Can we figure out how to get more money to these people? Britain's bid to build a sovereign AI model rests with a London startup of about 30 employees that has raised just $15 million. Cosign, founded by CEO Alistair Pullen and Yang Li, is building Lumen's sovereign frontier AI model backed by government support and developed alongside companies including BAE Systems, PwC, and Lloyds Banking Group. Officials in general has described it as Britain's first fully sovereign frontier AI model. Other question whether the company has the talent, computing resources, and the capital to deliver it. And this is, again, this last sort of year and a half has sort of taken the eyes of, I think maybe like the British Bank are a backer, but also like Sov AI in general. And we had James Wise on a while back to talk about this. So things trending in the right direction. But when we talk about things like, I know NVIDIA is, I think it's currently the most valuable company in the world. Yeah. Obviously, they're going to do things.
They hit a 5T.
They're in the 5T club, but like the scale is incomparable in general. Just to like, if they are to be competitive, they need more cash.
I think it's weird that they say other questions whether the company has the talent specifically. I think computing resources and capital is fair, considering they're talking about a 15 million, having raised 15 mil. They should have raised a lot more if they're the country's fully sovereign frontier AI model. But the talent, it sounds, seems weird. I think we always talk about the incredible talent that's in London. Obviously, everything that's happened with DeepMind over the past week. Does that not mean that maybe Cosign kind of sees that as an opportunity to pull some people their way, so some really great people their way? But can they afford to pay for them? So it's kind of like. It's like a perpetual loop, but I think there's more nuance to that, where it's like, does the company have talent? The ecosystem that it's operating in, it's building out of, does, but they don't have the money to go and acquire said talent. Yeah. I just want to pull up quickly. Yang Li had just tweeted about this and the fact that they were in the Financial Times. If we can pull this up, it says We just hit the front page of the Financial Times. The FT published an exclusive profile of Cosign. I'm proud of it because it describes a company doing something strangely unfashionable in AI, building frontier technology that earns its place in the real economy. There's a lot of vaporware in AI. Huge capital is being poured into the pursuit of AGI, despite nobody agreeing on what it is or how to measure it. Fine, but Britain shouldn't confuse that with having an AI industrial strategy. At Cosign, we spend our time with the companies that actually make this country work. Banks, defense, telecoms, and critical infrastructure. These businesses deal with problems that have real-world consequences rather than just benchmark leaderboards. We care about whether AI can defend British systems, investigate financial crime, and make critical industries more productive. We build the architecture, training systems, and data ourselves because I think Britain retaining that knowledge, matters. I love ambitious research, but I have little interest in ambition that never has to collide with reality. I want Cosign judged by what our technology actually does for British companies and ultimately for British people. Very proud of this team. I'm very glad the FT came to see what we are actually building, and that's the key thing, right? They're building AI for real use cases, embedding very much into, as the FT article mentions, BAE Systems, PwC. Building at the frontier of companies that are sitting within the UK and who need that. So maybe if they're building, I think it's weird that they kind of that they say it's like the answer to OpenAI. I don't really understand why there's a comparison there. It's just like that's the weird thing.
Just clickbait title, really, isn't it? I remember when we were at Convergence,
it's very strange.
Sifted covered our 12 mil, and we were like, by the way, as the company, you're super thankful for when that happens. But like, we did 12 mil pre-seed, and the article that went out in Sifted was like, can this AI company compete with Anthropic and OpenAI? And it's just like, and look, we gave it a bloody good go.
Yeah.
But it's like I feel like there's a lot of that going around. But it doesn't sound like that's what they're doing anyway. They don't want to do that. They're not looking for global domination. They're looking to just provide value to British companies.
Yeah, it would be interesting to ask. One of the co-founders.
Charge my laptop.
No, go for it. One of the co-founders. Cameras following you anyway.
Look at that. We spent a lot of money on these cameras. A lot of money on these cameras.
Almost, half of Cosign's raise, maybe.
Wow.
I spent on cameras.
That's me.
But it'd be interesting to understand if the co-founders saw the headline and thought, oh wow, that's strange.
No, it's a compliment, right?
It is a compliment for sure.
As a founder, I would like to, because that means more people are going to click on the article.
True.
They're going to read it. And they're going to learn about Cosign, which is a great thing. I just think, look, if these guys are doing all this work for UK businesses in general and becoming a sovereign AI model, why the hell have they only got $15 million? Give them 100 mil.
Yeah. Give it to them.
Just, it makes no sense to me. This is a living example of a failure in the government's strategy to not support, sovereign this, sovereign that every day. Cool.
Put some money into it.
Your sovereign AI company, you've only given them 15 mil. I've seen companies raise series seed rounds larger than this whole thing. So I don't know what stage they're at in their raising journey, but please give Cosign more money, the UK government. Just give them more money.
Find the budget, rip it out, and put it in this company.
Yeah, I want to have the guys back on as well. Hopefully we can try and make that happen this week, because I think it'll be a great conversation.
It would.
But, everyone knows there's great talent in London. It's probably the second best place in the world to build an AI company, specifically in King's Cross. There is no shortage of talent. It's why all the labs have an office here. But how are they meant to attract incredible talent if they aren't getting given the resources needed to do that? So yeah, I think that we could sort that in a month.
Tomorrow.
Depending on how fast you want to move. But
anyway.
Cosign, Frontier UK AI model.
Good piece. Go read it. It's interesting.
Good.
And you'll learn exactly what Cosign does. And maybe watch the show this week, because they might be coming on.
Let's talk about the chip nerds.
Let's talk about the chip nerds.
Chip nerds are back. Chip nerds are killing it in South Korea. The dating scene that's suddenly dominated by chip nerds. This is an article from
why that
Wall Street Journal. The chip nerds. They got the cash. They rode the memory boom all the way to the top. Some of them, unfortunately, came back down, but a lot of them are now six-figure bachelors, says the Wall Street Journal. John Bake is 32, single, and open to a serious relationship. But on a first date, he got a particular dilemma. He doesn't want to say where he works. His South Korean employer is Samsung Electronics, one of the corporate champions of the global AI boom. We've been covering them relentlessly.
I love that.
They have made a lot of money. Profits are so enormous that Bake, a memory chip engineer, is set to receive a six-figure bonus, a sum worth many years of paychecks for the average Korean. Bake and his co-workers wonder if the extra romantic interest they're seeing is sincere or a reflection of their ballooning finances. I mean, I'm sorry, my steak too buttery, my lobster too juicy. He's like, I don't know if I'm getting all these girls because I'm too rich, says Bake. What? Why? Anyway, Samsung engineers have traditionally had to think about this type of stuff, he said. The tech boom has supercharged South Korea's economy and stock market. Now it's inflating the dating value of semiconductor industry bachelors and bachelorettes. They're as coveted as the memory chips AI companies need to build more data centers. This is a brilliant article. Workers at we did see that there was a huge bonus payout. I think it was for Samsung.
It was Samsung, yeah.
You know, the workers unionized. They were like, you guys
was.
are making literal billions.
Yeah.
This is insane. Give us some of the goods.
Most people made six-figure bonuses.
Yeah, huge payouts.
It's great.
And then we kind of actually saw the memory stocks fall. Still insanely up to date, but fell after that. But the article goes on to suggest workers at Samsung and fellow Korean chip maker SK Hynix were forever a step behind the country's lawyers, doctors, and accountants as marriage material. The traditional things one's parents usually push them towards. But for the first time, they're pulling even, according to local matchmaking agencies. A Samsung Electronics chip engineer appearing on a dating show recently attracted interest from 3 different women. He had a dependable image, one of them said. SK Hynix employees' lofty standing in society got parodied in a viral Saturday Night Live Korea skit. That's true. A bald, frumpy man enters a luxury clothing store. He gets dismissed until shedding his jacket and revealing a company vest with SK Hynix.
Can we share someone's screen and show this photo?
I think we can maybe get... That's outrageous.
Is this going to pull up correctly?
I think it should. I can adjust it.
There we go.
That's
not real. That can't be real. That's not real,
merch.
right?
I don't know, but even if it's just been made, then the merch is pretty.
SK Hynix. Send us some merch. We'll get it on the show.
That's a
Look at him. He's wearing a Synthesia jersey. We could do a SK Hynix gilet.
That's brilliant. That was that is not real.
SK Hynix.
That is from the Saturday Night Live Korea skit. But we can.
I see.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been made. Like you could get a hold of that. But it goes on to a few more examples. Count Kim Young-won among the newly interested. The 26-year-old photographer had long placed doctors and attorneys atop her dating wish list. Now there's room for employees of Samsung and SK Hynix too. Kim laments not having any close contacts working at either chip company or even knowing someone who's dating an employee. I wish I was that one person, Kim said. South Korea's main stock market, dominated by the 2 chip giants, has grown roughly 2.5 times since the start of last year. That's the stock market, by the way. Samsung and SK Hynix recently joined the select group of global companies to hit a market cap of $1 trillion or more. Bonuses are expected to average about $400,000 per employee this year at Samsung and roughly $500,000 at SK Hynix. The figures have made Charlie Moon, who will soon start an engineering job at SK Hynix, a frequent target of his parents' friends. They ask if he's single. He has to politely tell them he has a serious girlfriend.
This is great.
Of course you do, Moon31 said he typically hears Annie Kwan, a 26-year-old engineer at Samsung, thinks she found a workaround to vetting outsiders. She avoids them. That's it. She's coupled up with a fellow Samsung Semiconductor Division employee.
Power couple, let's go.
Double income, she said. Oh, that's amazing. That extra spend.
I love how they're just like, they don't care. They
Dude,
just
I'd
outwardly
rate it.
say.
Double income, she said. That is so good.
Let's go.
The extra spending power can burden the uninitiated like Ro Hee-jin, 27. Her Samsung boyfriend recently gifted her a Nintendo Switch 2 that runs around $450. Ro, who works as a software developer outside the chip industry, had to save up to buy a mini PC to reciprocate. I just can't keep receiving, Ro said, without giving back. Wow, they are really struggling over there.
This article is very long. There's about 4 or 5 examples. If you want to keep reading, go to the WSJ website. You'll find the article. There are so many examples of these people who are just outwardly coming out and saying, explaining their stories. I find it fascinating how outward they are with their dating life, one, but also the fact that double income. Let's go. I'm up.
This one from Edward G, 34, has no regrets. He stayed at SK Hynix. He got a fat bonus from the company's Blockbuster 2025, which dovetailed with his wedding day. The influx of funds allowed the newlyweds to buy a modest apartment. They splurged on their honeymoon to Australia, flying business and booking a private helicopter tour of the Great Ocean Road.
Let's go.
G and his wife are expecting a bigger bonus in the coming months, and they're now eyeing newer apartments with scenic views of Seoul's Han River. They believe they can have a child on a quicker timetable. Wow, very good. I'm glad I can do more with the people I love, G said. Oh,
Does money make you happy? Clearly it does.
Hell yeah. Ask G. He's flying around in a helicopter with his wife.
He's having a great time.
Insane. Anyway, so that is the chip nerds. They are the hottest bachelors in the market.
Do you reckon that will ever happen in
China?
I mean, I know that the stock market's up 2.5%. The whole stock market, which is bonkers. I guess we're too developed in that set to have like an industry just absolutely boom, and it just to become a thing that these people who work in this specific industry and these 1 or 2 companies are like the golden ones.
Maybe it's defense.
Do you reckon
defense?
UK defense founders.
Yeah, they're getting their secondaries out.
Yeah, becomes a thing. Maybe.
Speaking of a thing, Hex.tech is the AI analytics platform where trust meets insights. Hex helps teams of all sizes by giving teammates the ability to get insights from their data wherever they work. Go to hex.tech
also
to get a hold of that.
Speaking about defense, Tony Blair's son is seeking funding for a defense tech startup. This came out this morning in the FT about 7:10 this morning. Nick Blair is in talks to raise roughly $200 million for a new venture called Pyra. Let's dive into it. Nick Blair, the son of former British PM Sir Tony Blair, has founded a defense technology startup and is seeking significant investment at a time of rapid expansion in the industry. Blair, who is 40, is speaking to investors about raising about $200 million of funding for a venture called Pyra, according to people familiar with the matter. Pyra is developing technology that will allow users to integrate different systems into a single source, the people said, cautioning that discussions on investment had not been finalised and could shift. UK corporate filings show that Blair incorporated London-based Pyra Group last November and is the company's sole officer. A sparse website says, deploying summer 2026, stand by. Pyra spokesperson said Pyra was founded to serve security interests of the UK and its allies in a defining period for global defence. Britain must transform its sovereign industrial base and digital capability. We are building Pyra with the scale and commitment that task demands. Blair's older brother Ewan just raised $70 million in further funding in May for his education technology startup Multiverse, valuing the company at $2.1 billion. Nick Blair also previously co-founded and chairs the UK software startup Skyral. I didn't know that, which produces modelling and simulation technology, including the defence groups. Skyral has raised 20 million from investors last year, including the European venture capital firm Neue Capital. This is interesting. He's raising 200 million of a pre-seed. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's a very big round. Nick Blair, we will have to get you on the show because, also I feel like they could have picked a better photo of. It's a bit grainy, you know.
Yeah, what they're doing, they have to. Well,
he's raising 200 mil.
It's in talks too, right? So he's not probably okay.
Okay, he's not done it, but a 200. That's a mean feat for anyone raising 200 million pre-seed.
We can drop you in a note.
And again, he has
a great time with you in last time.
We can. We'll drop him a note.
Get Nick on.
See if we can make it happen. But interesting story to come out of the FT this morning. We'd love to see it.
We always love to see it. I'll tell you what else
let's talk about Framer. Build what decides faster. Only one on platform where enterprise teams design, build and ship production ready websites. Go to framer.com/ETN. Alex loves Framer.
Well, we've got you here as well. BVNK. They're accelerating the global money movement. BVNK provides enterprise-grade stablecoin infrastructure for global businesses, enabling fast, compliant payments and digital asset solutions worldwide. Oh, hello.
Sorry, I cut that a little bit premature. I didn't mean to cut it.
All good. No worries. I want to talk about something that I think is personally the most important thing of the day. It's about dogs.
BBC article, rare BBC article in the ETN lineup.
We should smile at our dogs. A new scientific study reveals why. This is from Victoria Gill, who is a science correspondent at the BBC. Any dog lover will tell you their canine friend picks up on their mood and emotions. Now scientists have worked out exactly what is going on inside a dog's brain when it sees a human, even a complete stranger, smiling or scowling. Their research involved 14 dogs in total, who all sat very still in a brain scanner while they were shown pictures of people's faces. Photographs of happy, smiling human faces made an area of the brain that is associated with reward light up. This reward circuitry is the part of the brain that is activated when we enjoy and remember good things like tasty food or praise. It must be quite fun to work on this as a scientist. In terms of our own brains, we often refer to it as the hit or the high that is triggered by winning a game or even receiving a positive comment on a social media post. I feel that would just be like, the dopamine hit, right?
Yeah. They're just getting dopamine from smiling. It's great. They're basically like humans. I mean, it's a great story, but I would assume,
she's a science
process of.
I would have thought we'd get a bit more.
Process of association. Smile at dog happy, nice.
Yeah, well, I think we've known that maybe.
I think we have. The BBC. Oh, can we just pull my screen?
They have been running previous. Look at those hard-working boys up there.
Looking at their own brains, studying their own brains.
Odin and Kun examined their own brain scans. Very nice.
Kun, what a name.
They have said in previous research on dogs, the same brain region has been found to light up when the dogs anticipated a tasty snack or smelled a familiar person. We've all seen what happens when you return from maybe you've been away for a little bit and your dog is there and it's all... it knows that you're there even before you've actually got there. It can kind of smell you, even though you might be in the car or something, and the dog's in the house. It starts acting up a little bit, It kind of knows what's going on. They say it controls us having motivation to do things, wanting to do things, explained Laura Cuellar, one of the study's lead researchers at the University of Vienna. Okay, nice. Vienna, great place to do some research. So this finding suggests that happy faces, even those of strangers, have a positive value for dogs. Cuellar and her co-researcher Raul Hernandez-Perez went on to investigate how dogs responded to other human emotions, showing dog images of people displaying happiness, anger, fear, and sadness. But the reward circuitry only responded to happy faces. So your dogs know. If you come in from work all grumpy, making a fuss and whatnot, you just gotta come in smiling.
Yeah.
You don't want to let that dog down when you get
Surprise.
home. I don't
Smiling
have a dog,
equals
to be fair, so
more happiness.
I wonder what would this be like for cats? Because
I don't think cats would care.
They didn't really.
No.
They didn't really jive with that.
Maybe they care about what you wear. And this is a quiz that we found on the Wall Street Journal today. What do you think is acceptable to wear at the office? Do you want to take the quiz?
Let's take the quiz.
Let's pull this up.
Let's do the quiz.
The workwear quiz. We'll just wait until it's pulled up.
This is the Wall Street Journal. What do you think is acceptable to wear at the office?
Here we go.
Take our quiz.
I like this little gentleman here as well. He looks great.
Everyone has sartorial do's and don'ts for work. See how your personal dress code stacks up with other WSJ readers.
Here we go.
Okay, so we're going to be taking the quiz. Question 1. What's that? You just got a big bonus and rewarded yourself with a Rolex or Chanel bag. Do you wear your new bling to work? Hell yeah! You just made a bag and got a.
Yeah, I think your co-founders would be like,
hell yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, sick
Congrats.
Rolex, man. Where'd you get it? Oh dear.
Only if it's understated.
Okay, next question. That's stupid.
Oh, this guy's looking sharp.
Your office is business casual, but you enjoy wearing a suit. What do? Stick to the suit. It makes you feel like $1,000,000, and that's what's important. Mix it up by ditching the tie or combining separates. Get with the program and dress down. You don't want to look like you're out of touch or interviewing for a job somewhere. Stick to the suit,
I'd
bud.
stick to the suit.
Oh yeah, you look sharp as hell.
So I knew someone who it would be pretty casual in my office when I was working in corporate. Every now and again, I mean, if we were speaking to clients, it would be different. And I think there was a question about this actually. But this guy would be in, tooled up properly with the tie, 3-piece, all the time. And I think people respected that.
I would respect that.
100%.
100%. You stick to the suit.
Also, if people think, you're going to, you're interviewing for a job somewhere, whatever it is. No, you just do it from day one. You're always dressed. You are the person that is dressed well.
It makes you feel like $1,000,000. Why would you not wear it?
No, no way.
It's crazy.
Okay, here we go.
Question 3. When meeting a client, what's your wardrobe plan? Go for the gusto with your best suit or dress. It automatically commands respect. Strike a balance between corporate and creative. You don't want to outdress the client, but you're still trying to impress. Anticipate what the client will wear and go for something similar. To be fair, I would try and I would match on this one. I think it's okay to match. I'd match or mog. Not sure which one.
Match or mog.
I'd never be mogged.
Would you go to an interview with the Synthesia? I feel like you're mogging with that.
Yeah, depends who I'm meeting.
I think people would respect.
Depends who I'm meeting. If I'm going to Synthesia, I probably wouldn't wear it.
No, I think you would.
Oh, you think?
Well, it's like, oh, great, you've got a Synthesia jersey, I'm a big fan of Synthesia.
Yeah.
I'm going in.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it is. I'm going to go this.
Okay, so you just full...
Oh,
see,
God.
okay, yeah. Wow, we're really...
Strike balance between corporate and creative. I don't know what that means. Is it okay to wear shorts to the office?
Yes.
You can tell you've never worked in corporate before. No.
Yes, as long as they are neat and paired with something more businessy, like a blazer. Wait,
yes, don't be the first one to do it.
A bloke.
No, you're not on vacation.
Shorts and a blazer.
Yeah, look at that.
I don't know. Maybe
all the people that work in tech are that 5%.
Shorts and a blazer would be
100%. Would you wear headphones at work? Yes. 100%. If you want to lock in. Including when you walk around. Wear them for only calls. No, it's fine to wear them between calls, but around your neck.
Oh, they're going analog. Okay.
No,
there's even more aura for that. To be fair, if they're going wired as well, that's kind of sick.
Yeah, true.
They've assumed wired.
Well, this person doesn't have wired, so I'm going wear them when you want, including when you walk around.
Yes, I think that's fine. Wow.
God, we're really. I don't think we do very well in a corporate environment, to be honest.
I've never been in one.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rules are.
Well, this guy's sharp.
All the men in your pretty conservative office are clean shaven and short haired, but you'd love to grow a beard. You choose to see how a light, closely trimmed goatee goes down first.
Get your career.
Forget it. Your career isn't worth risking for a little facial hair. Go for it. You might start a trend.
Start a trend. We're always here for starting a trend.
Yeah,
start a trend.
Be a trend maker.
Oh, that's pretty close.
Sure.
See how I feel like you would get shunned for a light, closely trimmed goatee.
I'm going down the goatee route right now. Sam has got a pretty strong beard. If we can cut to you, producer Sam, let's have a look how that thing's rocking today.
That's.
The beard's getting in the way. There we go. There's a trendsetter right there.
Nice. Looking good. Looking good.
Question 7. Is it okay to wear wear a baseball cap at a desk job.
No, never. It's not a stadium. No way.
I don't know, man.
No way.
Depends where it's coming from.
I mean, if you're like smashing phones, backwards cap, feeling like a bit of a Chad, go for it maybe. But
where are you though? Are you at your startup? Are you? Oh, well, we need to hurry up. Actually, we have a next guest coming on soon, I think.
Okay. No, not stadium. 91%. What is your rule for wearing sneakers in the office? Yeah, I think that's fine. Only in tech jobs.
Only in
they can have white soles.
You can't be wearing sneakers at the at the investment bank.
So here.
As long as they aren't your stinky running shoes. No, they can have white soles, but would have
only in
Oxford,
tech jobs.
Only in tech jobs. Sorry, you can't be wearing those.
White soles. You can wear white soles.
I think that's lame.
You're practical about it. You respect the rules, even if you chafe at some of them. You think you practicality of your wardrobe based on how your day is looking and what the weather forecast says. I think that's fair. Oh. I have to say, all of these people very well dressed. Anyway, we can pull this down and we can go to our next guest if we have them.
That to me says that we don't have the code. We just go by the whim of the weather.
Yeah.
She's very British.
Very British. Very British.
Talking
about a company that's a little bit British. Anyway, the company it communicates at a human level across every channel and modality, deploy conversational agents across every customer interaction, create on-brand content at scale. Go to labs.io.
Love to hear it. We've got Daniel coming in soon. Daniel is coming back to the show. They've got some ARR numbers that will
growing
shock
super
you.
quickly.
They are a 20 VC portfolio, so you know that they're in good hands. I think we can bring Daniel into the studio right now. Let's see him on the big screen. Dude, welcome back.
Guys, good to see you again.
And you, sir, and you've got some pretty exciting news. What have you guys been doing since we last spoke? Because
talk to us about the growth. We want to be hit with the numbers.
Give us the numbers. Give us the juice.
Growth. We've been locked in Vienna. The beauty, like, if you know Vienna, like Vienna is not really a tech hub. But the beauty about it is like there's no distraction. So essentially, what we do is we just like stay in the office. It's amazing to relocate. Many people move to Vienna at the moment. We just grind. So right now, we're growing roughly 25 to 30% month over month. And now we hit the magic number, 10 million ARR.
Let's go. We love to hear it.
Here we go.
Let's go. And that's you. The guys are hyped as well. So just from our last conversation then, what have you guys been doing? Has it just been tunnel vision? Have you changed anything? Was the number already hitting a nice acceleration point? You just kept doing the basics right? What's going on?
Yeah, so a big change for us was we released our own turn detection model. So it's turn detection means like that the AI is able to understand pauses really well. That actually drove growth massively because that really increases adoption with companies. So that gave us added another 10% on our growth per month. And apart from that, globalization. To be honest, for the first months of the year, we ran the company essentially like we focused everything out of DACH. Yeah. And then we tried to centralize it, our entire marketing motion, and just like build up a few markets at the same time, but that didn't work too well, to be honest. Yeah. And then we completely flipped the approach, and even though it's much more work, but we then essentially now the goal is that Fonio really feels like it was just made for Spain, the UK, France, Italy, US, and so on and so forth. And now it's working really well. Yeah.
Amazing. I wanted to talk to you about turn detection and how what impact that has had, one, on the product, and it sounds like it's had an incredible impact on the product, but also like business case. Do you now go into a conversation, when you guys kind of cracked it and it got as good as it has got, is it now the companies that were a little bit skeptical, you go back to them and say, hey guys, turn detection is incredible. It can now kind of understand pauses and kind of more natural language and natural conversation styles. What were those kind of conversations like? Was it literally just a flick of the switch and a bunch of people who weren't too interested were now super interested?
Yeah, 100%. It was always three things you had to solve with voice AI.
Yeah.
It was always latency, so how fast AI would answer. It's the quality of the voices. That one's amazingly in English. You just mentioned 11 Labs. They have amazing English voices. But for example, with other languages, they still have a little bit of room for improvement. And we also always partnered up with 11 Labs. And then for the turn detection, this was something that was super hard to crack. And for many people, it was actually a churn reason. So when we then solved this, or like churn or not even activate, when we solved this, then it was actually a huge momentum for us to reach out again. And the second thing is actually now, this is happening right now, we just released our own voices for non-English speaking markets. And this is also a huge change because the quality now really feels, you can test it on our website. It's very, very hard to differentiate it now from a human. Yeah, so it's fun.
Nice. If we can talk about the scale for a second and like the speed at which you guys are doing this, like where does this go from here? This is like looking at a pretty incredible trajectory. Like how do you stay focused and like where is the next North Star for you guys?
So the goal is until the end of the year to reach 25 million ARR, best case 30. And for next year, we're targeting at least 100 million until the end of the year.
That's good.
Yeah. And at the same time, what we're also doing is we're expanding our product. So we just rolled out WhatsApp as a new channel, and in the next weeks we're just rolling out the alpha for emails so that we're automatically answering to emails, and our own phone system, which will be also very powerful. What we can then do is essentially not just like it's like an old school business. You provide companies with phone numbers and that kind of stuff. But what we can do is essentially we listen if the companies want that towards the phone calls, and then automatically train the AI to get better on it. And that will be also a huge game changer. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk to you again about kind of your guys' ability to kind of increase adoption with kind of the general population, the SME market. Can you talk to us about that adoption and how, when you started the company, I think it was like 12 months ago-ish, or around then, you were at like 500K ARR or something like 12 months ago, something like that. How has that changed? What is the adoption like now? And are a lot of kind of more non-technical companies thinking this is the wedge that I want to like get into first and then start adopting more AI? It's kind of like, it feels like the wedge into, from the SME market into this kind of like AI adoption.
You're spot on. So it's exactly what's happening. For many of our customers, they're really like everyday people, SMB owners, carpenters, etc. And what we see is that many of them used ChatGPT before and know a little bit AI.
Yeah.
When they work with us, for the first time, they see how AI truly generates value for the company, and they're able to set it up within a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then they actually approach us and they're like, hey, we actually want to go deeper now. Can you also, for example, do email for us? And so on and so
nice.
forth. So it's exactly what you're saying. And this is why we also try to focus a lot on simplicity, which is very hard to do. For example, we were trying to get rid now in general of the option to prompt, which is the most efficient way to interact with an AI at the moment, right? Like if you're an SMB owner, like you don't know anything about like how to write a proper prompt or what markdown is or that kind of stuff. And this is actually quite challenging to make it really, really simple. But I think we're on a good path at the moment. Yeah.
Nice.
How deep are you guys into the SME market so far? Like how much deeper? Let's rephrase it. How much deeper can you guys go into the SME market? And like, is that the sole focus to get to 100 million ARR by 2027, or do you feel like you guys move into like the enterprise, and like what's the focus in terms of market and where you guys are focusing there?
That's the cool thing. Traditionally, like SMB was very unsexy because of low contract sizes, ACVs.
Yeah.
But what we see with AI is that we essentially get put in the same basket as like salaries, and therefore the ACVs, even though we're working with SMBs, are quite high. So, therefore we see the opportunity that this can get really, really large. Right now we're at roughly 10,000 customers.
Wow.
And in Europe and the Americas, there are roughly 130 million SMBs. And not all of them are relevant though. When you look at like the amount of companies that are relevant and are in a business that get a lot of phone calls, it adds up to roughly like 30 to 35 million SMBs. So definitely quite a large opportunity. And this is what we're going for. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We mentioned, I think we spoke about it briefly last time, but like the GTM function of the business, would love to revisit it again, because like that's an insane amount of customers. So I guess naturally, because it's SMB, maybe it's not as like one-to-one. You can manage quite a large scale of them if they're just using the products and stuff. But how have you scaled it that quick? Because it must be like purely like a PLG motion.
No,
there, I guess.
this is like the crazy part. Like I really want this to be a PLG, but something. Yeah, no, like
but it's not, and it's
like,
still ripping. So it's
no.
fine.
Like, I'm telling you guys, like I wish this would be a PLG, and like it still hurts my heart that we have the same motion that we do right now, but it's working so well. So we actually, when you visit our website, we do have a hard paywall. We don't have a free trial. We do have a money back guarantee. And what we see is we do have a chunk of people that do sign up self-serve.
Yeah.
But like the majority of people actually do have a sales call with our team.
Okay.
Wow.
So we build up this crazy sales motion that is kinda as very, very low friction. So we see that we try to close on the first call always. And for the best sellers, they have a closing rate up to 80%. So
Nice.
they, like,
On the first call?
Yeah. No, not to be honest, not on first call. Like
Okay. Yeah.
when it's hard. But and we try to go for at least 14 demos a day per person. So it's like really back to back to back.
Yeah.
And this motion is working really well, but at the same time, it's quite hard to scale, right? Because as we're moving now into new countries, we have this insane multiple on every seller. So it's not normal sales multiples on every seller for the quota. But you're also a little bit constrained to headcount, right? And so this is why I'm like always joking. I would love to be more in PLG, but the current motion is at the same time working so well. So it's like a love-hate relationship towards our go-to-market motion. Yeah.
What's the did you mention that you guys are going into the US at all? Did you mention that? I can't remember.
Yeah, we're already active in the US, but we just started 1.5 months ago.
Okay, fine. Is it different GTM motion or no?
No. So we try to build Fonio on the marketing side more like a consumer brand almost, because SMB owners, they're almost behave like consumers and make very fast decisions.
Yeah.
And the market entries we do, they're very, very similar. We just need to adapt the messaging to every market. And the way we do it is essentially we always start a market with usually like ex-entrepreneurs. For example, for Brazil, we have someone who has built a company up to $20 million in revenue, then sold it. For Italy, we have also someone who have like built a company of 50 people, and they go in as like the first person, and they're more like a commerce founder style, so they know how sales work. At the same time, they're also able to juggle marketing, CS, and so on and so forth. And then and then we give us a little bit of time, like 2-3 months, to understand the market, to just invest a little bit of money and see what works, what not.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we find the thing that really works, we just like keep on investing and move faster.
Okay, nice.
This is how we love every market. Yeah.
And where are you in that? So you said 1.5 months for the US. Like what's working, what's maybe not working compared to like the DACH region? I'm super interested about that.
Very interested about the US is that our conversion rates, as soon as we talk to a customer, they're very, very high. They're even higher than in DACH.
Yeah.
But we do get less leads. This is something that we're currently, that is probably something that's very solvable, because usually the hard part is the conversion part, if that's wrong. So it's probably just the messaging part that we now need to figure out really well for the US that we haven't cracked 100% yet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How can other people scale to 10 million ARR as fast as you guys? What's the advice for other founders grinding out there?
Give us the sauce, dude.
Yeah, okay. Apart from working a lot, I'd say that it's, I think one thing that really helped us a lot to always stay on speed is every time we launch new products, we don't go ahead and build them first and then launch them. We actually built them together with our customers. So it's almost like an agency pitch that we go ahead and, for, let's say, the email feature. We didn't just sell the email feature. We went ahead and be like, okay, you want to go ahead? Like, we will actually like sit down with you. We understand your business, and then like what's currently your problem with emails? Like, how do we automate this? What kind of drafts do you need? And so on and so forth. And then you do this with like 20 customers at the same time, but you charge more like agency fees. So they even pay more than usually in SaaS. And then you actually know how to perfect pricing, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to go ahead and give everything away for free. And then when you work that close with the customer, you're actually able to launch products quite spot on. And we do that with every product that we launch. And this helps us so much because we are always so close, and everything we do has usually quite a high ROI, and therefore we don't lose time in making the wrong decisions. So that's a big advice.
Okay, interesting. Is that do you feel like that will get you to 100 million ARR in terms of like the scalability of that? Like, do you guys have like FDEs like kind of running around doing all this kind of stuff?
No, it's not
agency
FDEs.
model.
By the way, it's very, very important. It's not an army of FDEs. It's like essentially you have like a seller that only do this with like 10, 20 customers and work closely with them. So it's not a thing that we scale.
Right.
It's just to understand the initial part. And of course, with the scaling, it's something very different. With the scaling, you need repeatable motions. And for that, right now, for example, with the phone product, we cracked it. And now essentially what we can do is, as we build up this almost like consumer marketing machine, we have this one metric that we look at intensively. That's that we want to stay within a CAC payback time, fully loaded, so including margin, churn, everything, under 12 months. So if we invest today $1, we get at least $1 back within 12 months. And we're at that space, for example, with phone, and then you can just pour in as much money as possible, as long as it's healthy, right? And this is when you then really go ahead and scale. Like the figuring out how the product works part is not how you scale the company.
Very cool. Very cool. I know we are coming up to time. Any like sort of things you've got coming up that you're really pumped about? I'm sure some more investors will be coming knocking after your announcement.
After you come in.
Maybe you don't need them. Maybe you don't need them.
So very excited. Actually, like yesterday we made the unofficial announcement of a new voice assist. This will be big. And then in the next, we don't have a date for that, but probably within the next weeks, we're going to be able to release the public beta of our email and PBX, so the phone system feature. That will be also very big. So yeah, excited. And thanks for having me, guys.
Amazing.
No, appreciate it.
Dude.
We appreciate your
Congrats
time.
on all the amazing work. You guys are a rocket ship.
Thanks. It was fun. See you in a few months again, right?
See you next week.
When you hit 100 mil ARR in 6 months, not 12. Well, yeah.
See you then, man.
Okay.
Have a good one. Ciao. What a legend. Let's just quickly go. I know we are coming over to towards the end. We do need to cover the bangs of the week.
We do.
There are
but we also want to cover Hex, the analytics platform where trust meets insight. Hex helps teams of all sizes by giving teammates the ability to get insights from their data. Go to hex.tech. We love those guys over there.
Bangers of the day. What have we got lined up? First one coming at you. It's live in a data center. This hit the timeline yesterday. It's
watch this video.
3.3 million views, called Open Living. Let's see what it is.
Move into ours. Introducing Open Living. What if we could take your whole life, your commute, your work, your kids' schools, your leisure, and put it in one place,
vibe, you know?
all powered by artificial intelligence. Like, literally, you power it, it powers you. The pool is heated by your vibe coding, cafeterias with lab-grown food based on your preferences, unlimited nicotine pouches, and best of all, you don't own anything.
My learning guide says I'm in the top 1% of learners.
I don't miss making things.
I honestly couldn't tell you what my job is anymore.
They know what we want before we want it, so now we don't have to want anything.
Your life is our data. You were giving that away anyway, and we need it to give you abundance. You can also stay at Open Living data centers around the world. Open Living, basically everyone moves in eventually.
Look how horrible. Wait, go back like 5 seconds. Look how horrible like the outside world looks.
What in so good.
They've smashed that.
Mate, so they've nailed the
nailed the double collar.
Yeah, the double collar combo from his
Sam is looking good.
His initial
He's
pitch.
looking stylish.
I mean that's pretty strong, not gonna lie.
Pretty strong.
That's from Ari K
How much
Ari
that cost
Kushner
to
build out.
To build out, yeah.
This one I thought was pretty good. Paul Graham the Paul Graham we all know and love, took a shot really at this guy called Zach. This is at ZKRHASS. He emailed Paul Graham. He reached out, and to be honest, I thought the cold email was pretty good. I thought it was well written, and also written in a function that Paul Graham would like. It's short. There's no unnecessary grammar.
Yeah.
There's full stops being used. Short sentences.
The subject line is great. I suck at writing.
I thought Paul Graham would appreciate the writing. Maybe that's why it got through, to be fair, because he did reply. But Zach says, "Hey Paul, I've been writing essays lately. I read your essay on writing your ideas, and it made a lot of sense to me. The issue is that I have no friends and don't know any good editors or proofreaders. Should I just use AI to proofread, or do I need to read up on how to write? I could also always just trust my instincts when drafting." Paul Graham came back to him literally just 2 hours later. It says, "Make some friends, full stop. Then you'll solve 2 problems at once." Zach says, "You're right, that seems more important than writing. Thanks, Paul." And he says, "Thanks, PG." I don't know if this is like fully legit. It did pretty well on the timeline.
Let's assume it is. We have to assume it's right. It's real.
I mean, there's definitely a world in which he.
Then again, he didn't tag PG, so
trying to grow his account. He's dropped his first essay beneath this. I hope it's true. I'd be very surprised if Paul Graham is just side questing, just owning people in email DMs. But very possible. I think that is.
It's close. It's close. We're teetering on the edge. Let's talk about croissants. The croissant in Europe, even at the airport coffee shop, are better than any I get in the US. GDP is fake.
So I didn't know this. This actually slips under the radar. This actually caused quite.
It did quite a stir.
Quite a stir on the timeline. The croissants in Europe are obviously better. I don't know how anyone could ever argue.
Alex has taken a beautiful photo of these for 34 krones.
Alex Tabarok. But I do feel that we are coming to this sort of homogenization of croissants in like boutique cafes.
They're all the same.
They're quite like layered. Like I know they're layered anyway, but the layers are more pronounced. They're quite large.
I think human beings are getting better at making good croissants.
Yeah, well, I'm a huge croissant fan, but I think the angle to argue that any US state is doing better croissants than Europe, is not.
It's a bad argument. You're going to lose every time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Michael Dell.
Michael Dell hit a bit of inspiration on the timeline. Michael Dell says, "Jealousy never built a company, invented a product, or wrote a book, or solved a problem. It only watches people who did." Michael Dell just hit him with some fire on the timeline.
This is semi-related to kind of what we're talking about, with Europe, right? It's like, why are we talking about stuff that's going on? Lock in. Then you will create incredible companies, as Daria said when she was on the show.
A morning lock-in message from Michael Dell and a little fire emoji from Joe Lonsdale as well in there in the comments, which we love to see. Doing great work.
Where is he? There he is.
On mine.
Big Joe.
Big Joe there, giving some love. We are quite sure overall. I think I'm personally.
I have one that I honestly think would win.
Okay, go on.
Let's pull this up, please, Sam. I have the entire team working on this problem. Surely that wins. Surely that wins.
Okay, I hadn't seen that. That's pretty good, to be fair.
I found that right before we started the show, and I think this wins.
Fair enough.
The only reason it wouldn't win is Mistral are on there, and Mistral are a frontier lab, as we know.
A slight edit.
I think you got to involve the Euros in there, but
Alex Caswan.
Congrats to Alex. You win.
Thanks,
Banger of the day. I love
Incredible
that.
Work.
Please find Alex a wife. We need him.
Global call to Alex.
Anyway,
that is the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining in. We will see you tomorrow for another day in paradise.
Ciao.
Hit the sad music this time.
Ciao.
Well then, what a show.